It's DatBoyFred, host of FanView podcast. Tune into the NOTN app, weekdays, 3:30 for the FanView podcast. Go to NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com to watch more episodes of FanView podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch.
This is Felton Huggins Jr. I'm the head football coach at Kentucky State University, and we're here at the FanView podcast. But whatever choice you make, we have to be good with the consequences, good, bad, and differently. As long as we're good with the consequences, whatever it is, you know you got me. I'm going to help you. We're going to learn from it. We're going to grow from it, and we're going to continue moving on. But a lot of times, our kids don't understand the choices that they make not only affect us, but they affect the people around us.
For real.
And that's the most important. So, like, when I tell kids, I give them money, like, hey, when I take your money, if I take your scholarship, it's not going to hurt me. It's not going to really hurt you. It's going to hurt your mom. It's going to hurt your dad, because now you put them in a position to now where they already, school is high as I don't know what now.
Yep.
The portal is crazy. Like, the odds of getting in college now are so slim. I tell my kids all the time, like, it ain't hard for me to go find a kid, and I'm not trying to. I want you here.
Right.
But if I can't, like, there's kids in the DMs right now just itching for an opportunity.
Special guest, man, Kentucky State head football coach Felton Huggins, man. Appreciate you coming on the FanView podcast, man. Been talking about getting you on, man. I'm glad you was able to get down here and come on here and fellowship with us, bro. And we always like to start our podcast off. We're gonna get right into it about your journey, bro. That's how we always like to start the FanView podcast off, and let our viewers understand who Felton Huggins is, man. I've been knowing you since 2003 at Southeastern. When you was cutting up being an All-American. But before you start talking though, let me read off a few of his accolades if you people that's watching not familiar with my dog, man. Holds a school record at Southeastern University for receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns, and was a 2-time All-American, man. The name speaks for itself. If you're a Louisiana head that was following college football back then, from that 2003 to that 2006, 2007 era, you know who Felton Huggins is in the state of Louisiana, man. But right. But yeah, man. Started off, man. Let us know, man, when you first fell in love with the game of football, man, and how it got you propelled in your career, being a head coach at Kentucky State University, man.
Well, first and foremost, man, I just want to say, Jeremiah, man, appreciate you just giving me this honor to be on your podcast, man. At the end of the day, it's a blessing, man, that anything that we're able to get a chance to do and to shine a light, again, not on me. It ain't never about me. It's always people help me along the way to get to where I was going. So it's never about me. It's always about the journey and the path that we go to get to where we're trying to go, man. So I'm just appreciative of it.
Oh, yeah.
So, man, kind of how I fell in love with football, man. I fell in love with it at an early age. My dad was a coach. My whole parents are in education, so that was always instilled in me early. I can remember as a little young kid, and my dad had football practice or basketball practice. I mean, we always had to play every sport. My dad was a softball coach / baseball coach as well. Damn. And so just watching him as a young kid, and I always knew I wanted to be a coach as a young age. My dad, that was like the time when you could have a paddle. So, you could paddle kids back then. And so I just, when I was young, man, and just seeing that and just all my whole family, if you know about Huggins, and again, it's not about me, it's about my family. Where we're from, man, like, we just breed athletes. Like, that's just what we do down there. We're from the country. Everything, from the home of Doug Williams, but it's also not only just Doug Williams. We have a lot of highly skilled athletes that are from where I'm from, man. So it was instilled in us, man, playing basketball on dirt courts and playing football on anywhere you got it, where we got an open field. Like, so that's when I fell in love with the competitive nature, with the team camaraderie, and just the overall fun of the game, man. So just learning from my pops and just instilling those things in me and instilling what it means to be a coach and just also loving the game. That's what it was always about for me.
And then when you started playing high school football, when did that light go off in your head when you was like, man, I think I got a chance to go do this on the next level and be pretty good at it?
Man, you know what? It's kind of funny. It didn't really go up in the way that you think it did. At the end of the day, like, I just love sports. Like, where we were from, like, you just, whatever season it is, that's the sport you play. If it's football season, you play football. And I think that's a Louisiana thing, too. Like, it keeps us out of trouble. Right. You know, trouble's always around us. Like I always tell my kids, life out the door waiting on you. Just it's sitting there hovering around waiting on you. And so just it's basketball season, you pick up the ball and you hoop. If it's track, softball, whatever sport it is, whatever the majority of the neighborhood is playing, that's what you play. And so, man, in high school, like I didn't have the best of high school career. Like we had a lot of changeover as a head coach. I was always a quarterback my whole life. So when I got to Southeastern, Jeremiah, I don't know this. Like my first time playing receiver was in 03.
Never knew that.
Like I never played receiver before. But you know, you kind of play it in the yard when you're like, hey, pick up a run, you got to catch the ball when you get hit. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, man, just whatever sport it was, that's what I gravitated to. But football was always my passion. Like, I mean, I remember I used to thought I was gonna be Mel Kiper. Like, I used to look at the draft, man, and just literally look at pros and cons of every position and just see if I can kind of pick who would I think would be the first guy would be that'll benefit my team. And so, man, high school wise, it wasn't as what I thought it was, but I was always solid. But just from our path and the coaches that we had in our time and the school we was at, it was kind of rough, but we always had the best talent. If you ask anybody about Northeast High School and where we from, like I say, talent is there. That was never an issue. The issue was a lot of different things that, you know, as a young guy, we didn't know now, but I wish now those are things I hope and I'm trying to change as I continue to grow and get older.
Now, talk about your college playing career. You know, you started off at Grambling, you know, in a prolific offense with Bruce Eugene, Melvin Spears, you know, was the head coach. Then you transferred to, you know, an upstart program in Southeastern and still put up numbers under the great Hal Mummy. Just talk about when it clicked for you, like Jeremiah has said, that you might have a chance to continue your career outside of the NCAA.
I'm gonna try to not make this as long-winded, but man, it's funny. Like when I went to Grambling, I wasn't in the clearinghouse on time. So, you know, at the time, we didn't really know about clearinghouse.
Right.
A lot of people I was part of the Prop 48. Me and Jeremiah and you were talking about, we was Prop 48. So I was a part of that crew because I didn't get in the clearinghouse on time. And at that time, clearinghouse was super backlog. Like you probably ain't never get your clearance until the end of the season. So that first year, like our Prop 48 team at Grambling is probably the most talented Prop 48 team ever. And we all play intramural football. Like everybody, Moses Harris and Jason Hatch, who was a third-round pick. Oh, we all played flag in the mirror. We was props. So we could not lift with the team. We couldn't do nothing.
Right.
And so, you know, going there and just being at Grambling, I love Grambling. Don't get it twisted. Like, Grambling is what instilled in me to want to go to get back to HBCU to be a coach. Like I always tell people, I was never trying to run. I was never running away from HBCUs. I was trying to run to it. Like I always wanted to go back and be a coach and give back to my people. And so, but Grambling for me, my whole family went to Grambling. Like I've been doing Grambling my whole life. My mom, my dad, my aunt, 6'4", she scored 100 points at Grambling back in the day. Like if you know anybody about Felton Huggins, like she was an animal. She'll tell you too to this day, and she'll actually think she can still put up points on you. But so I mean, going there, but Grambling just wasn't the place for me. But I met a lot of people. That Bruce Eugene, who we played NFL Europe together. So leaving there, it wasn't for me. So I ended up transferring and going to Southeastern. People don't realize it, Jonah. Jeremiah knows Southeastern didn't even have football.
Right.
So I was there. I was running track. Fast forward, y'all don't realize this. I was running track. You know, our track team was this. Me on our 4x4 team. Jacoby Jones.
Jacoby Jones. For y'all that don't know who Jacoby Jones is, played for the Baltimore Ravens.
Played at 8.
Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl, played right here from hometown New Orleans, man. And Jacoby was our relay guy. So it was me, Jacoby, Lazarick, Kyle, Lazarick and Z, and I forgot his last name. Sidney Dantzler. And actually, small world, his brother is one of the winners high school head coaches in Kentucky. And I met him, first guy I plugged with when I got the job at KSU. And so we all ran track together, 4x14. Jacoby, like literally, just think if Jacoby would have ever came out there with us, because he was gonna come out after I got out there.
He was playing flag with us.
He was playing flag with y'all. I used to go to the games. It used to be crazy.
Yeah.
After our practice, we head to the intramural.
Yeah. We got that cut up,
man. And so getting to Grambling, man, I'm at Southeastern. I'm running track, but I'm watching the football team. I'm watching Hutch. I'm watching Jeff. I'm watching all my bros out there. And me and Jacoby sitting there. We all play football, and we all just sitting there like, man, we need to get back out there. And one day, like the track coach knew. He just kept being on us like, hey, y'all, Coach Brady, good guy, great guy. Man, y'all need to get back to your track, get to your practice, get to everything. And then one day, he kept bothering me, and I just said, F it. Like, I'm going to go tell Coach Muhammad, let him come run, let me run a 40 for him. Let me see what happened. I think I ran like something like high 4.4 or something like that. And then him and Coach Roller came talk to me, and they was just like, hey, what position you play? I said, I play quarterback. He said, well, you ain't playing that here. And I was like, okay, like, what can I play? He said, you can play receiver. And Coach Goff got to me, and they was throwing a water bottle to me the whole time. Let Coach Goff tell the story. I dropped it, but I caught every one of them. And, man, the rest is kind of history. I learned as I grow. I'm a person of be where your feet are and just take each day as it is. Don't run anybody else's race. Just run your race. So for me, it was just always just trying to continue playing the game that I love. If you play the game that you love, good things will happen to you because you always playing it for the right reasons and the right things. And so that's what I always did, man. Like, I just went out and competed and had fun doing it. Like, Jay know me on campus, man. I didn't really talk or do much.
Right.
I just love ball. Like, I was probably the most quiet All-American you could ever see.
Yeah, you
but
be chilling.
I was just chill. I just love ball, man. Like, and just going out there and again, I always tell guys, I wouldn't have got to where I was to this point because of the guys around me. Like, we just talked about it. Hutch Gonzalez, Jeffrey Howard was probably don't run the fastest 40, but one of the hardest working dudes I ever
Jaron
played
Pierce.
against. Jaron Pierce, who owns Gym A Equip Fitness, like over and over, Josh Taylor, and the list goes on and on and on of the receivers we had there, man. And those guys pushed me, and I always like to say, I wasn't the reason I got there. Those guys are the reason I got there, man. It was just because we all pushed each other. It was a brotherhood. And it's kind of hard. You don't see that nowadays in ball, but that's some of the things when you have that camaraderie, like, everybody wins, man. Like, and so that was what it was about for me. So that's when I knew, like, and then I started getting calls, and I was like, I still didn't believe it. I was just like, okay, I'll just keep balling, like, keep playing ball, and just, hey, whatever happens, happens. And so that's how I always looked at things, man. Just ran my race and just try to figure it out as the day went along and just make choices.
Everybody wins until y'all play Alcorn.
Nah, we definitely got to have a side note at some point about that.
Oh, man, I remember, even though I ended up not playing at Southeastern, but I always stayed close to the game. A lot of my close friends, Brennan Harris and Norman Randall, and a lot of them boy Romales Mio. Them boy, we always would be sitting around just talking about the upcoming team y'all playing this week. Practice. When y'all went to camp at
Camp Abbey.
Yeah, Camp Abbey.
Camp Abbey.
When they took y'all phones, y'all had no phones and stuff like that, man. And so I always stayed close to what y'all had going on. I don't think I ever missed a home game.
I don't think you did.
When I was at Southeastern, man. And I remember them talking about how raw you were and you had all the talent in the world, but you were still trying to figure it out.
Yes.
I remember traveling to Lake Charles when it was nationally ranked, and that was your coming out party, bro.
Yeah.
260 yards receiving, 13 receptions. Y'all upset at McNeese. Nobody gave y'all a shot going into that game.
No.
And I think that's when the light went off in your head on the college ranks.
Right.
Man, take me back to, like you say, man, you came ran the 40 for Hal Mummy. You wanted to play quarterback. You told you couldn't play quarterback. You played receiver. It was a process.
Yeah.
And then you figured it out, and you ended up being a 2-time All-American, bro, and holding 3 different records there, man. Take me through the hard work and just that journey of that, man. That's all you stand.
Nah, no doubt, man. I think for that year, that was going into our junior year, and that was the year, like, we got another year back, and we all kind of knew the offense. Like, that was the first thing. Like, that whole summer, like, I think kids don't understand, like, championships or greatness or whatever you're going to do is always built in the summer, like them hard months. Like, ain't nobody up there. We all broke. We all ain't got no money.
For real.
At that time, Hurricane Katrina hadn't came yet. So, hey, we all ain't had no money, and we just grinded it out. And each and every day, we got 2 or 3 days in. Like, we would get up in the morning and go catch. Then we would run routes, go get a lift in. We all had jobs. Some of us was in summer school. Then we would come back and get a 7:07 session late in the afternoon. Like, that year, man, we knew the offense like the back of our head, man. Like, it was nothing. And Coach Mummy will tell you this, and Martin will too. Like, at certain points, man, like, he would just call a formation in, and Martin would call a play. Like, we all had a relationship with Martin, and even for us, me and him, like, we even had a better one. Like, teams started trying to play, shade me over top, or wouldn't let me get deep. So he already knew, like, I was going to snap it off at a certain amount of yardage, and that's one thing, like, now in the game, like, our kids don't understand, like, you got to be a student of the game. Like, understanding it didn't matter what position I played or what position none of us played. We knew every part of the offense. So just if we had a guy hurt, we can plug another guy or just say, hey, Jeff, come over here.
Next man up.
Just Hutch, next man up. Like, that was how it was. And so going into that season, first game of the season, we played Arkansas Monticello.
You had 200 yards in that game.
I had 200 that game. I had 11 for 266 and 2 touchdowns. Again, I still didn't – it didn't really hit me, man. To me, it was
balling.
I was just having fun, man, just playing a game that, man, every kid in their whole life just a dream of playing. Like, so then it came to McNeese. They were number 6, and a lot of our good friends here might know this, like, are still, like, that next year, Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Rita, McNeese got displaced.
Mm-hmm.
So we, like, a lot of them cats on that team, like, I'm still solid with to this day, and a lot of our team is because they stayed on our campus. People don't know this. Like, we housed them for a whole semester. And so, like, Derek Brown, Carlise Franklin, Marcus Brown, Jonathan Zenon, like, all those cats, when I went to coach at McNeese, I knew I had a relationship with all those guys. So I was telling Coach Gobble, I know half the alumni. They were here with us. And so they all knew me, and it kind of helped and made it fresh. So we went into that game, man. They were ranked. Like, they was just off a semifinal run, I think.
Yeah.
Before.
That's when McNeese was McNeese.
They were McNeese. Like,
yes.
Realize, flashback pause, like, McNeese was the power.
Yes.
Like, I tell everybody, it's like from the early 90s, hell, I just met Chad Pennington, who was a high school coach in Lexington, and he was, him and Randy Moss was at Marshall. Yeah. They played McNeese for the semifinal. They beat McNeese, but McNeese was there.
Damn, I don't even remember that.
Yes. Go look it up. Marshall, Randy Moss was there, and Chad Pennington was his quarterback. So, man, like, they were deep power. So us going in there, and it was crazy. Like, night game, Cowboy Stadium. Like, you already know what time it is.
Pokes up.
Go Pokes up. You already know. Arkansas used to play them every year. And so we go into that game, man, and just it started kind of flat. You know, I actually think I caught a ball, and I caught a deep one, and I fumbled, and they gave it to him, and then they went down and drove, and so it was like, oh, snap. Like, it's McNeese. They about to put it on us again.
Right.
And then next thing you know, like, man, the light came on, and we just drive at the draw. I think I hit him deep. Then Hutch hit him for one, and Perk, I think he scored, and then I hit another one. I think, if I remember correctly, I was done at the third. Like, we had to put the route on, and man,
it was like 50-17.
50-17, and we knew the game was over. Like, I still have this picture to this day. Perk had the pom-poms, and he had his hands out like that, and he got a picture of him kind of teasing the crowd. and we had just beat them, and they was exiting the stadium, and we had just knocked them off. And that year, man, I think those first 2-3 games of the season, I led the whole nation in receiving. That's what coming out with Vincent Jackson, who played for the Tampa Bay.
And y'all played them, Northern Colorado.
We played Northern Colorado. Like, man, like, and that's when we knew the light hit on, man. And it was just, again, but that was only a credit to the work that we put in ahead of time. It wasn't waiting till the week of or waiting to camp. Like, we decided, like, hey, the summer, we're going to grind it out, man, like all of us. And we did, and that's why we were the number one passing offense in the nation at that time.
I remember being at that game at McNeese, and because two of my friends I went to the game with, they went to Glen Oaks, and Damon and Kevin Coates.
Yeah, I know Kevin. Yeah, Kevin ran track with us too.
Yeah, so did. So we all rolled together to the game. I forgot the 2 cats that played with McNeese that went to Glen Oaks with them.
That was Roderick Royal. Started at played at Florida, transferred in, and was one more guy.
Forgot the other one. But so they talking shit. I'm talking shit. So when Sauhees and Vito, man, I'm talking about we in a sea of McNeese fans.
Yeah, it was.
Man, the people wanted my head up in there. They wanted my head up in there. And look, I'm going to be real with you. I was super nervous coming into the game because McNeese was so good for so long. And
they were.
You know, I think they was number 7.
They were number, actually, if I'm correct, they were number 3, I think.
Yeah.
They were 3 in one poll and 6 in another.
Yeah, it was something like that, bro. So, but I knew that the type of offense y'all was running, y'all could go in there and score some points.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if the defense was going to be able to do what they did. They held them to 17 points.
Well, it kind of panicked because, like, after a while, they was playing this kind of zone, and then next thing you know, they scored, and then they kind of just started like, hey, we just going to heat y'all up. And we already knew, like, me and Martin knew, like, I wouldn't have to give him a signal. He would just give me a head nod, and he knew, okay, hey, they playing zero, or they doing this. Like, I'm going to do this. And that was it. Like, there was no signal. There was no nothing. He just had a feel like, hey, I'm going to snap it off. I'm going to take the middle and do this. And after that, it was over with. Side note, I could tell you, so when I got the job at McNeese and our SID, Matthew Bonnet, I did not notice when I got there. He came and he said, Felton, man, he was there when we played them. He was like, Felton, man, it's happy to finally meet you, man. He said, I want to tell you something crazy. I said, what? He said, you still own the stadium record at McNeese State for the yardage and touchdowns in our stadium. And I didn't go to school there. So that was just like, I was like, man, and that's how that was my introduction to like a lot of those alumni and some of the greatest alumni that you ever can meet. Like, again, I went to Southeast and I love our alumni as well, but you can tell why like Cowboy Nation is something else, man, because they ride or die. Yeah. They embraced me too. So even though I was outside and we had a lot of battles, you know. So I mean, McNeese was our second, probably our rival next to you guys, man.
Right.
So
talk about our game. Because it was both, and it's like I can tell the secret now because we ain't playing.
Oh, no doubt.
Because all we did was our second half adjustment. Both games, we went from man to man and we played cover 7 the whole second half. And the first time I could tell like Trey was struggling. So he didn't know where the drop was coming. From. And then the second game, y'all just get, I don't know how to this day.
So we played y'all 3 times.
Yeah. The third one y'all finally got.
Third one we got y'all. I think that was at the COVID. I think y'all had a quarter. Donald was just done.
Yeah.
And y'all had a new quarterback. Who was the QB at that time?
Yeah, it was
a young guy.
It was a 2 quarterback system.
He was actually a 4-star coming out.
It was
his last name Hobson?
Yeah.
Trey.
Tony
Hobson. Yes.
So
yes.
Like, it was like the team wanted one kid, Oliver Bozeman.
Well, he was a high ranked guy, but y'all wanted. I forgot the other guy who y'all wanted to start.
We wanted Oliver. The team wanted Oliver Bozeman.
Yes.
Like he been there.
He had been there a long time.
He came 03, like he was just he was an athlete.
He been in the system for a minute.
But the OC, you know, like Tony was his guy. You know, like both of them was good. It's just like we thought like we was ready for the athletes we had, and you put that type of athlete that Slim was, because like Slim, like he trains quarterbacks now. He trained Michael Vick. He was training Pat White. You know, like that, you know,
and fast forward, Pat White ended up being the OC at Alcorn.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
small world.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
He was up. Man, Pat came there twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, came
well, he first time was under Hobsons.
Yeah,
and the second time came back with McNeil.
Yep.
And so like it was that seesaw, but we knew, like, as a defense, we knew like, yeah, we ain't gonna get them 3, because the first 2 y'all gave to us.
So we definitely gave. So we played y'all 3 times. In 03, we gave y'all that one. Like, now y'all had the better record. Y'all were actually, I think y'all were favored. We came into y'all first of all. We love playing y'all because that was our only time we get to hear Black Band.
Right.
That was the only time we got to hear Black Band. So for us, you know, growing up in that culture, like, and we didn't have really the best high school band in high school, so growing up in HBCU culture, like, we all wanted to hear that. Like, hey, lovely thing, talking out the side of your neck, like all that. So that was going to get us crunk too. So we were hyped coming down there to you guys, and we actually led y'all. And then we end up giving up the deep ball. I think it was a post to Courtney, because I think I caught 1 touchdown that game. I forgot who it was.
It might have been 2.
We had a good game. I think that was Martin's first year, and so we played good that game. But we gave that
because Martin started as a true freshman.
The second year, I can't remember correctly, but I know Martin didn't play as good as he typically would. We threw like 3 or 4 picks.
That was like the 4. It was like 6 turnovers.
Yeah,
like
we fumbled. We had a couple picks, but we ended up still losing by like 1 score. And we were in the game. I think y'all would never put it away. We kept it there, but every time we had a drive, it was a pick. And I think that was the only game I did not go for 100 on you guys. And then we played y'all year 2, or year 3. We kind of beat y'all, but it was always a battle. We always knew, first of all, y'all were gonna be physical. Like, so we had to come with it. We knew y'all was going to talk a lot of straight up crap. Like, it was going to some shit talking. And we knew that y'all were going to play hard for 4 quarters. Like, they told us, like, and we were air raid team, so we weren't known to be physical. But it showed that, like, man, when y'all was coming down here, like, it didn't matter. Like, we came up with you guys. And y'all beat us in the series out of 2 out of the 3 times, man. So, that kind of hurt to this day. But we beat everybody else, though. Prairie View and Valley, we got them. Right. Just could not get y'all, man.
Man, the air raid was kind of, it was known if you was in the football world, but to a lot of outsiders, people it was unfamiliar with air raid. Man, talk about playing for somebody like Hal Mummy, man, who is one of the godfathers, if not the godfather.
Create like
Yeah.
pretty much the
Like,
creator of it.
he created this.
Right.
If you look at his tree,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. You know, playing for somebody like who's the godfather of the air raid, man, like Hal Mummy, who never wore a headset, known for the famous towel around his neck
He
throughout the
gonna wear the
whole
towel.
game.
Hal gonna keep the towel.
Yeah, and just he's gonna have a prolific offense year in and year out. His quarterback play is gonna be phenomenal, and his receivers are gonna be precise and on point. Talk about playing for somebody like that, man, and how much you learned throughout your years playing for Hal Mummy at Southeastern.
Nah, no doubt, man. First and foremost, man, again, never playing receiver and being a quarterback all my life and now getting into that offense. For me, it was an easy transition because I already knew what it looks like from the back end because I played quarterback. So I knew how to understand coverage. I knew how to understand like spacing and things like that. But now getting in that offense and now understanding like, okay, within the air raid is literally you're trying to affect 5 areas of the field. You're trying to affect the deep third, the middle third, and, you know, the short third. And so I loved it. And again, I mean, I love it a lot. First of all, it got me to all the heights that I've got to be able to play in the NFL for a little bit. And then now I'm an air raid guy. Like, I'm part of that tree too. Like, I'm a descendant of Hal's son, Matt. Matt taught me everything I know within playing in it. And so, man, just getting there and understanding like the air raid and how he come to fruition with it was just like, it's all about reps. Like, it's kind of that Kobe Bryant, like 10,000 hour rule. Like, the more and more you do things, it comes repetitive nature. Like, that's all the air raid is. It's just reps. Like, everybody catches the ball. Everybody throws it. Like, every quarterback throws a route, a pass concept, or a pass route. Everybody does everything, and it's just multiple times you do it, and you get conditioning within the practice structure because you run so many routes.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, muscle memory. And then now, the added element of a lot of guys now, and even me, incorporate now the run game into the air raid with also the spacing that you have within the air raid, it just makes it an offense that is hard to stop. And now people can't just say, hey, air raid quarterbacks can't win the big thing. Because now if you look at everybody, like everybody has some semblance of air raid, like mesh and wide cross and four verts. And all this was a descendant of Bill Walsh and BYU, the OC at BYU, I'm blanking on his name right now, of them grabbing that offense, streamlining it to it's like all short word concepts, and now you're able to play fast and communicate fast, and now just get off the ground and get rolling. So, man, that was the beauty of the air raid, man. And honestly, I always tell people, like, for me, everything I've accomplished is this offense, man. This offense has got me to the heights of everything I've been able to accomplish in my personal career as an athlete, and also now my coaching career.
Hold up. How he was able to call plays and run that offense as prolific as he did without a damn headset on.
So the air raid is all based on, like, you know, I mean, hell, the signals are the same. Like, if you look at some air raid teams, those signals hadn't changed since way back in the early 90s. Like Hal, this is star 6. Like, it is what it is. I mean, Hal always told us, I don't care what the signals are, they got to stop it. You know, so that's how he always taught us. Like, at the end of the day, and I'm the same way, like, I don't care. I'll run a screen. Like, go block them. Like, come stop us. Be physical, beat us to the point of attack. If you do, hey, chalk it up to you. Good job. But other than that, you have to stop it. And so, like, you know, most of the thing was just like, oh, that year, Hal didn't really need a headset because remember, it went to how much repetition we had in the summer. So Hal would just get us in a base play, but Martin would get us in a better play.
Gotcha.
And so, like, Hal would call something. He would just give a formation, or he would just give a formation and tell him, hey, check with me. And Martin would just be like, okay, I see this. Hey, let's run this. All right, they playing this on the back end. Let's run the ball. They playing this. They bringing pressure. All right, let's zero coverage. Hey, I already know. I'm going to give you this signal. Let's do this. I mean, we had it like that to the point to Coach Mummy, he'll tell you he didn't really have to have it. And then also, people don't realize this, like, he kind of dialed back a lot of the play calling. His son and Coach Goff call a lot of that offense that year too. So, like, man, just the simplicity and the repetition is what makes his offense go, and why kids are so able to gravitate to it and pick it up like so fast, man. It's just a way of life. And so that's why I've always liked it, because I'm able to confine it and shift it to whatever I want. Like this past year at Kentucky State, we didn't have the receivers that I needed. So, hey, we had to be a little bit more run heavy. But it still works with the splits and things like that, what we're trying to do. So I just mold it, and all you do is now changing a few tags and a few concepts, and now you can mold it to whatever you want to be: run heavy, pass heavy, balance, different personnel, different formations. Hell, you can make the air raid look like under center. It's the same stuff. Everybody's running some form of semblance of the air raid. So that just lets you know, like, how how strong and how powerful this offense is.
Right.
So like what I wanted to ask you, I wanted to flip it. Like
Yeah.
so G asked, how was it, being a player in the offense? I want to know, like, how was it when going to Kentucky State
Oh
and
man.
implementing it? Because because that's traditionally that's not what they did. They still had they still playing 10 personnel.
Yeah, they were triple option offense before I got there.
So
Army/Navy, 100%, like true Army/Navy, wing back and one receiver out there.
So what I want to know is, like, how hard was it, like, to come in and change that culture to what you wanted it to be?
Yeah.
To where you are now, because you didn't have your players at first, and you're getting in, like you said earlier, like just meshing the players to the scheme.
Well, the good thing about it was, again, being able to be offensive coordinator. I kind of fast forward, rewind. I like the journey that I took, like taking a D3 job. Well, I didn't make any money. Like, I had the money I had from the NFL, but my first job I made literally $2,000 a year. I made $400 a month. Well, $200 a month actually. They taxed it. All right, so that was just getting into it. But D3 actually helped me because now I got a chance to run my own room. I got a chance to recruit my own area. I also got a chance to now immerse myself in the offense. And my coach, Matt, he needed a lot of help. I was the only other guy that knew air raid like that. So he challenged me with, hey, Felton, get in the box. And early on, he taught me how to call it. Like, hey, Felton, I'm going to call one. Whatever you come out there, you tell me what we looking like and what you feel, you call the next one. And so now, getting to that point, like now, I had on-the-job training. We had JV, and people don't know you have JV in college. So I was able to call all the JV games. So
damn, I didn't know that.
Training, yeah,
D3.
like a lot of D2, D3.
Never knew that.
It's built off numbers, like how you get the enrollment in school, how you make the money, you get more kids. So you have JV programs. They play all the prep schools, some JUCOs and things like that, the D3s. And so calling those games, and then Matt giving me more responsibility. And then me being able to get my first OC job at Charleston Southern University. People don't know this. They were triple option. So they were triple option. They were spread triple option. Same triple option that
Georgia Tech was running.
No, not Georgia Tech, actually. I'll go at Coastal. Chadwell. The Coastal.
Jimmy Chadwell.
The gun spread.
Yeah.
The gun triple option. So all the pistol bag with the two split bags.
Yeah, Liberty now.
Yeah, Liberty now. Yep. So they ran that. So literally, that was my first on-the-job training of switching the whole offense from triple to spread. And so when I got there, I got in there, again, learning on the fly, so it was a good thing. Got there, try to just teach straight air raid that first spring. Oh, it was bad. Like, no personnel. They didn't even know how to line up in a set. Like, they first time ever getting 4 wide. O-line got to understand how to pass pro. Yeah, my quarterback was literally, all he did was dive option. So now teaching him how to do a drop and how to process coverages and things like that. Like, that was tough. But that spring, we got better and better. That summer, we got better and better. And at Charleston, we've had the best record since they left there. I've had the best record. We led the conference in total offense. Again, we didn't have the personnel. We didn't have receivers. I started a true freshman, 3 of them at PWO at Charleston. They all now Power 5 or G5 player at other places right now. And so Cam Brown caught 13 touchdowns for me. Like, we killed it, but that was the thing. Like, we learned, like, hey, still got some run tendency guys, but all I do is now let's find the strength of those receivers and what they can do well, and we just placed them and kind of configured them, and then we taught them everything. And then so when we were able to do that, like, that was clutch. So I had my first realm in doing that. Now, coming to Kentucky State, now HBCU, D2, resources are a little bit different. You don't really have all the coaches that when I went to Charleston, I hired everybody I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I got there, I didn't have everybody I wanted. So now just trying to figure out, okay, hey, how can I get the best out of my guys with the lack of things that I don't have? Like, I can't go in there and say, hey, just because I know this or I want to run this, in reality, that's not real life. Like, got to need different aspects. Hey, I can't go coach everybody, so I got to find out what those guys do well and be able to understand, like, what they can process. And it was a learning curve. And until we got to the end, we simplified it a lot down. We were super young. But now, we got some kids there, and we had injury bugs and all that, but we found a niche of what we were good at. We were good in the run game. Wasn't as strong at receiver. I had one guy that I brought from McNeese. He's actually from Pine. Markel Cotton, gonna be an animal this year.
Yep.
You know about Markel, right there out close to Bogalusa, man. You know how they play ball up that way. And I sound like New Orleans when I said that, Bogalusa. You know how they say that, Bogalusa. And so now just getting there and now understanding like, hey, I had already knew like, hey, let's put it in spurts. Let's see what our guys can process. Okay, let's give them 1 to 2 quick games. All right, if they can do that, okay, now we'll add now maybe a tag to it. If they can't, hey, let's always ease back. Don't try to put the cart before the horse. Like, just, hey, be patient and just now work with what we can do. And it still was a little bit of struggle because we were young. But when we got towards the end of the year, things started clicking. We understood we got the run game, but then now injury bug hit us. And then at that point, at that level, depth is an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you start getting to now those 3rd tier, 4th tier kids, it's kind of a little tough. So, yeah, honestly, like not like getting there and like I've been like I coached. People don't know that I took a break after I left Charleston, and then I went to Slaughter, taught high school ball. High school is a little different. Like, yeah, you might get, in high school coaches, you might have a few good coaches,
Right.
But everybody's not, as strong. And you might have a coach that's come in the neighborhood that that, hey, he gonna make sure the kids do what you need them to do.
Right.
All right. He might not be as strong as X and O guy, skill drill drive, but he can at least do that. So now understanding that, hey, okay, I might not be able to hire guys that I know that can do those things, but just put them in the best position you can to be successful. And so that was the biggest thing, like understanding that help is important. And now with lack of help, understanding where you can place them so now they can excel in their role. And it's no different than what you do in a kid. Like trying to find places that they can excel in their role. Whatever their role is, just finding a place that way, hey, they can do this to the best of their ability. And that's just not only in football, that's just life. Yeah, 100%. And people understand, like, for me, like, that was maybe the other thing that I give you a side note, like, understanding how important, like, ball is ball, man. Like, we're from a state where this is what we get. This is how we get it. Like, we ball here. But also, we from a state that life is hard. And so, like, my whole thing, and you can ask my guys, like, majority of my message is not about ball. It's about how we maneuver in life, how we move in life the right way, and understanding how pivotal that is to being able to get the best out of your players. Because if they dealing with stuff off the field, they ain't no way they're going to give you 110%.
They give you 110% on the field.
Not at all. So having to understand that was the biggest, most important thing, because most of my time is just literally, come on in, son, what we got to talk about? Like, come on in, son, what we got to talk about? Like, hey, how I can help you? Like, that's the important thing. And just having that open door policy and building that relationship. And now, my dad taught me that. Like, my dad, I used to watch people stop my dad as a coach everywhere. I was young, I hated it. I'm like, Dad, we trying to go. Like,
right.
Home.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my dad was a principal at Scotlandville, and I realized that Scotlandville is another animal.
Mm-hmm.
What? Yeah, it's another animal. It's another animal. Ballers, basketball, football. And we were at a game, and some older kids that my dad taught stopped and say, hey, Mr. Huggins, we want to take you out to lunch, And my dad was like, okay. And I'm sitting at the table with them, and they telling them how much he did for them. And they also telling, like, all the bad Mr. Huggins used to whoop us with that paddle. And used to, like, yeah. But he was letting them know, like, they let him know, like, how important he was to them. Like, they wouldn't be where they got if it wasn't for him, like, being where their feet are. And it didn't hit me at that time. I used to hate it. But, like, as I got older, and I really see, like, when I'm talking to my kids and I'm explaining life to them, and now they come back and tell me, and they telling me, like, Coach, I really keeping it real with me, because I would have never been able to, whatever I'm able to do, if you never kept it real with me. And that's all my dad did. And so, like, for me, that's why I always knew this is always what I wanted to do. Like, just helping kids. Like, we from the most talent-rich state in the world, I think, hands down. And I've coached and lived in a bunch of places. Florida, ton of ballers. Georgia, ballers. Like, I coached there. But for me, like, this is a state that we don't have everything. We don't get nothing. We're living in a disadvantage where kids look like us every day. But at the end of the day, we have the most kids that come out and excel in their situations, and their situations are hell.
Yeah.
Yep. And
it's facts.
And for me, man, just that's why I want to get in it. Like, if I can find a way to help a kid, not to just achieve what I did, like achieve what they want to achieve, and that could be anywhere, on the field or off the field. I feel like that's what it's about, and that's what I know what I was already brought here to do, man. Like, I already knew my path, my journey. Like, it's just to be here to help these kids. Like, nobody helps them anymore. Nobody talks to them anymore. They leave them to their phone.
I'm about to say they're untalkable, but they ain't in devices.
Yeah, they have devices.
They're in there.
Yeah. And that device is so powerful. Like,
man,
just think about it, man. Like, if we had, like, the best thing about us growing up is we didn't know what we didn't know.
Right. No, boy, right.
You know, and that was actually a good thing. Your mama tell you, like, boy, you too young. You don't need to know about that. Like, you ain't grown yet.
We had Lee Hall.
We had Lee Hall, 100%. We had all that stuff. But now, like, these kids can get some of this stuff, and now it's good, bad, and differently. And so now it makes them hard to understand, like, choices.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, and I always, one of the things I instill on our guys is choices. Like, you have the power to make any choice you want to make in life, like, point blank, period. But whatever choice you make, we have to be good with the consequences, good, bad, and differently. As long as we're good with the consequences, whatever it is, you know, you got me, I'm going to help you. We're going to learn from it. We're going to grow from it, and we're going to continue moving on. But a lot of times, our kids don't understand the choices that they make not only affect us, but they affect the people around us.
For real.
And that's the most important. So, like, when I tell kids, I give them money, like, hey, when I take your money, if I take your scholarship, it's not going to hurt me. It's not going to really hurt you. It's going to hurt your mom. It's going to hurt your dad, because now you put them in a position to now where they already, school is high as I don't know what now.
Yep.
The portal is crazy. Like, the odds of getting in college now are so slim. I tell my kids all the time, like, it ain't hard for me to go find a kid, and I'm not trying to. I want you here.
Right.
But if I can't, like, it's kids in the DMs right now just itching for an opportunity to play. And so at the end of the day, we have to make good on our investments. Like, school, anything you do with your parents, invest in time, money, financial support, emotional, physical, all that spiritual, like, that is an investment. We have to make good on the investment. We want a return on the investment. So our kids, and I preach that to our guys, understanding that the investment is key. Like, we don't throw that down the trash. We don't take $22,000 and just say, hey, I ain't feel like going to class.
Right.
I'm going to throw it away.
Right.
No, you can't do that. I don't think nobody got $22,000 where they can just, hey, yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Not where I come from.
Right. And not from this state. Like, we already disempoverished. I mean, we don't have anything. So for us, we have to make good on it, and we have to instill those values in our guys to understand that, hey, at the end of the day, you're going to make some mistakes. I'm not going to let those mistakes define you. Like, if the mistakes that we made, and if we would have had to get defined by some of them and not had a chance to grow, then we probably wouldn't be sitting in these seats.
Facts.
I know for a fact, for me, I wouldn't. Hell, people don't know this, Jay. Like, I was almost kicked out of Southeast.
Never knew that.
Like,
Never knew that.
Like, going into my All-American year, I was on academic suspension. Did not know it. Did not know it at all. My parents know now because they didn't know.
We got to talk.
Nah, but did not know this. Like, wasn't nothing my head coach can do, wasn't nothing nobody can do. Rusty Miller, the softball coach, talked to the higher up administrators and got me back in school. I did not even know. I wasn't kicking it. I wasn't partying like that. I just didn't apply myself. I didn't understand how important time management and communication was in college and in life too. Like, just, okay, not trying to cram for tests. Don't wait till the last
minute.
Yeah, communicate to your team. Hey, just go and speak to him and saying, hey, how you doing? Or whatever.
I go a long way.
Long way. And I used to speak to him, the only one I spoke to. And he seen me on the steps outside of, what was that?
D-Vic?
Not D-Vic. Not D-Vic. The kinesiology building. It was a kinesiology building.
Kinesiology building.
No, sitting on the steps. And he's like, oh, what's wrong? I was like, man, I just got this letter. They put me out for a year. It's going to some All-American year. He said, what you did? I said, man, I was on probation. Didn't know they on suspension. I had to sit out for a year. He said, give me an hour. I'm going to go do what I do. He came back, talked to him, say, hey, look here. I'm going to teach Felton how to do time management, study skills. Felton will not get a C. I couldn't get a C or below. He will have the best GPA ever. I'm going to make sure I mentor him, make sure he get these things done. Wow. That semester right there, I had a 3.5. I never had anything low below that. And him just understanding, hey, Felton, when you go in class, sit in the front. All right? Speak to him when you leave. Speak to him after you leave. When you get there, speak to him when you leave. Drum up a little conversation. Just understanding those things. All right? Now, don't wait till the last minute to study. Like, these are just simple skills that, in high school, we probably didn't have to do.
You probably didn't have to do that.
No, we didn't have to do that. And so understanding those things, I tell kids, like, all the time, like, Currency had a song, Ain't Nothing Changed But the Address. Like, I always tell them, like, hey, guys, like, if I hadn't been through it, I done seen it. My friends have been through it. I've literally watched a bunch of people go through it. So ain't nothing really changed but the address on how y'all do things. It's just a different way how they do it. But we've been through it. I'm not telling you not to go through it, but I'm telling you, hey, if you take this path, these are the outcomes that can happen. All right, now
Right.
you evaluate them how you want. I'm never gonna make that choice for you.
Right.
But as long as we good with the consequence, we talked about it and we figured it out. Hey, it's your choice to make. Whatever choice you make, I support you.
Your journey to being a head coach is kind of a little unconventional. I got a lot of friends in the that's coaching college football, bro, that have aspirations to be a head coach.
Oh, it's tough.
When did you know that you was ready to be a head coach? And just talk about some of the trials and tribulations that you've gone through since you became a head coach at Kentucky State. Because we all know, man, you go back and look at Nick Saban, whoever.
Yeah.
Everybody went through some type of adversity, some type of obstacles,
Oh, no doubt.
When they became a head coach.
So for me, man, I knew I always wanted to be a head coach. Well, first and foremost, I always set goals. Like, I always tell kids, like, ain't nothing you gonna do in life. Like, we've set goals. Like,
Yeah.
we already got, like, things like, okay, short term, long term. So my goals were, okay, hey, get into coaching, learn the first year, be a receiver coach, good as I can be, and just learn, be a sponge. That was my goal. The next goal, within 2 to 3 years, I want to be an offensive coordinator. Like, I knew, and in our profession, like, ain't too many OCs that look like this.
No,
right now.
not at all.
Like, it's hard.
It's hard.
And they already think that we can only we're not the guys that can kind of run an offense. So I'm like, okay.
Maybe as a recruiter.
Yeah, we a recruiter. We the guys that keep the kids in line. Like,
Yep.
And so it's crazy. I mean, this is what it is. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to want to be an OC. So Matt, again, that's my bro, man. Love him to death. Matt kept giving me responsibility. Hey, Felton, you're going to be the passing game coordinator. All right, I'm going to make you OC and title with me. And then my head coach at the time, who's now my DC at Kentucky State, he got the head job at LaGrange College. Gave me my first opportunity to be an OC. And so I was like, cool. And then I was like, okay, my next goal was I want to be OC at another level. D1, I always knew I didn't want to do big-time ball. A lot of politics, a lot of stuff with that. I just knew where I wanted to be. So got that one. Okay, next one was like, okay, after I kind of got through that, like being OC, understood that, I was like, okay, my next goal is I want to be a head coach. I don't even care what level it is. Like for me, coaching, instilling leadership qualities, just in teaching young men how to be men, which I think in this profession has been lost a little bit. Not lost a little bit, let me just be honest. It's been lost a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that's what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't care what level it was. Like, for me, it's just, hey, if you're trying to affect change, it don't matter where. It don't have to be Power 5. It can be Pop Warner. Like, I wanted to be a head coach, whether it was high school, whatever level college it was, except the bigger time, because I wanted to affect change. And so just going through that journey, but also now just trying to understand and making connections. Like, I took a path that was kind of different. Like, same thing like I was playing ball. Like, I just always was what my feet were. I always just was a student of the game, made certain connections, and then just honestly my faith. Like, man, at Charleston Southern, I like to tell people this. Like, our motto, and I've actually kind of took that motto from Coach Archie Denson. Again, gave me my first OC job. Shout out to him. His whole program motto was faith, family, football. All right, and then I just tagged fun onto it. And a lot of football, honestly, everybody does the same thing. It's just how you incorporate it.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, like, he used to say, like, faith in this process of us at CSU, which is now at KSU for us, is not seeing this process of what it is right now, but seeing it for what it can be. So I always like tell people, like, that wall right there is solid. Like, I don't know what's on the other side of that wall. But at the end of the day, I understand that with my journey and the faith and the way that we do things, how we do things, and why we do things, that I'll get to the other side. And I have my faith is strong. Like, I'm not understanding, like, I know we don't have the things that we don't have. Like, at the end of the day, that don't guarantee you nothing. Like, the only thing that guarantee you is you don't have nice stuff. Like, it doesn't guarantee you're going to be successful. It doesn't guarantee you're going to be a championship program. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to go to the NFL. It just guarantee that you don't have it or you do have it. So for us, what are we going to do? Our intentionality to do those things to get to where we got to go. And our faith has to be strong because everything's always not going to align.
Right.
All right. And so for me, just understanding my faith and understanding for me how important that was, and just honestly just getting up every day and just walking my path, man. Like, not chasing what everybody else is chasing. Like, I'm seeing buddies coaching big time. And I probably could have done those things too. Like, I saved enough money in the NFL where I could have probably went and volunteered at a place. But I just was like, man, I've always took the hard path. Like, and not really the hard path, I just always took the path for me.
Your journey.
And it was just my journey. And so just, if it caused me to have to get a little work in the end, like, okay, let's do it. Like, because at the end of the day, it was just always about the kids. And so now getting to K-State, like, now understanding, like, now I'm in these shoes, like, now I'm a head coach. Like, sometimes I have to, like, pinch myself because I'm sitting there and I'm asking questions like, oh, snap, I'm in charge. Like,
In charge. I
ain't really got to ask nobody, but I still kind of lean on things that people have told me. Like, talk to Doug all the time, and just coaches and
You
just
get to make the decision. Doesn't mean you know everything.
Don't mean I know everything, right?
You
And
never
just
stop learning.
Yeah, you never stop learning. Like, always have a sponge mentality. Like, always continue to work your craft and your trade, whatever that is. Whatever you're trying to do. Like, if you're not working your craft, you're not working your trade, then first of all, why are you doing it? And then two, you just kind of like beating yourself around the bush. Like, just go yourself, immerse yourself in it, and whatever happens, if you fall, like, it happens. Just get your mind back up and let's try it again, man. Like, it's always you're gonna scuff your knee. Like, we grew up like that, playing football in the street. Like, you're gonna scuff that knee. Your mama say, oh, put some water on it, get back out there and start playing again.
Little peroxide.
Yeah.
Put a little dirt on.
Dirt on it, something. Put a little water. Yeah. Spray the hose pipe on it.
And
Water
take me through the moment, man, when you got the call that you was gonna be the next head coach at Kentucky State.
Oh man, all right. So this story here, man, is crazy. So when I got the offer, I told him, I said, well, can I come see the campus? Call the AD. He was like, yeah, come on up. So I came down there. I went and seen the campus and seen it, but I had not made a decision. So I'm on the plane, man. I don't tell the story a lot. My players don't even really know the story. So I'm on the plane and I'm flying back. You know, you're on the plane. People don't you kind of like either you like talking to people or you like sleeping or you don't. So I like sleeping. So when I hit the plane, I'm knocked out. I woke up halfway through the flight. It was like 30 minutes at the end of it. And this lady was sitting next to me. And so she tapped me and she's like, excuse me, do I know you? And I was just like, nah. And I was about to just like turn and go back to sleep, but I didn't. And she was like, she said, question. She said, I was just praying. And she said, I swear I know you, but I was just praying. I was talking to God. And he told me that you're going to live here somewhere. I was like, okay. It's like, all right. And so I'm listening. And she said, well, I'm praying and I'm talking to him. And she said, God just told me that you're going to be a leader of men somewhere in this area. Like, no lie. I promise you, this is not a lie. Like, you're going to be a leader of men in this area somewhere. And I got, like, my mouth, my jaw open wide. And, again, that goes in my faith. And I'm just sitting there like, wow. I was like, well, and I laughed just like that. I say, honestly, I just got offered a job at Kentucky State University. And I was just coming up here to see the place and trying to see if I'm going to decide if I'm going to take it. She said, oh, wow. And so the lady sitting next to her was her friend, and she was just like, she said, where you from? I said, I'm from Louisiana. I'm from Zachary, but I live in Lake Charles now. And she said, well, I used to live in Lake Charles for hurricane. What was the hurricane a couple years ago?
Laurel.
Laurel. That was
Laurel in Lake Charles.
Laurel. So she was down there volunteering for Laurel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, she said, I live literally around the corner where I lived at in Lake Charles. I was like, the hell? And so
full circle.
And so she's sitting there like, she was like, wow. And so she was like, yeah, she said, I promise, she said, if you whatever you do, like, that's what God just told me to put on my heart to tell you. And she said, can I pray for you? I said, sure. So we prayed, but we landed. And I'm driving back because I flew in from New Orleans. And I flew from Lake Charles. I'm driving back home. And I'm just sitting there and I waited a moment.
That would have been on my mind all night.
Yeah. And I waited a moment and I just knew, like, at that point in time, like, I mean, I wasn't always the most spiritual person, but I've always had a close relationship with God. Mm-hmm. I just knew at that point in time, like, Kentucky State was the place for me. God don't make mistakes. He puts you where he wants you to be. Again, being a head coach, you can ask for it, but you don't ask for you don't give a really got an opinion of where you can go, what it's going to be like, what are you going to have, what are you not going to have. At the end of the day, he places you where he wants you to be, and it's for a reason. It might be a great situation. It might not be the best situation. But at the end of the day, he put you there because he felt like you got the shoulders that you can kind of overcome whatever obstacle that you're going through. And so I knew at that time, man, like that was a place for me and whatever it was. And I was just so enamored with the kids there that they've been there so long and they will always just grind it out. And Kentucky State always had a really good football program, football teams. And so I just knew at that point in time that was a place for me, and I knew that's where I wanted to go. And just being where your feet are, man.
That's dope, bro. That's dope.
Let me ask you this. Now, you know it firsthand. I know it firsthand. The state of black college football.
Oh, yeah.
Funding.
Yeah.
Exposure. Mm-hmm. Resources. You name it. All of the deficit. Now with NIL.
Mm-hmm.
Now with transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a time where black college football, you got the people that wanted to be there. Like this is
Oh,
first.
man.
This is first
We
charge.
just got
This
to
is
talking about
yeah.
them.
This
Like, all the cats back there.
this ain't no fallback option. This is
swag
where I
level.
want to be at. Now, black college football has the opportunity to get the bounce backs. You get your, the Power 5 kids that overlooked you. You're like, no, it's not working out for me. Let me be around my own, and flourish. How does it work being the head guy now, building a program in this day and age of college football, while also giving respecting the roots of the high school where you come from and all that stuff, and trying to balance out both of that?
Nah, that's a great question, man. It's just kind of first and foremost understanding what path you're trying to take. Either you're going to build through the portal, either you're going to build through high school ranks, understanding your needs, and also understanding that's honestly just a fact. Most HBCUs right now currently present aren't set up to be able to give the kids everything that they need that a PWI is able to give them. And honestly, just side note, most PWIs, they have their issues too.
Right.
People don't realize this. You'll be surprised.
Yep.
A lot of them don't have it. It's just ours is more magnified just because it's HBCU. Now, I do think that we're at a turning point to where if we can get proper things in order, get proper resources, get also resources that are owed to us for us, we're a land grant school. But we're underfunded from our land grant. I was a ton of million. I don't even know the exact amount.
Alcorn 250.
Alcorn's 250. I think we're somewhere close to 100 million. We're a land grant school. And that's Southern's a land grant school. FAMU is one. All these schools are underfunded tremendously. And this is just money from the state that's supposed to come to them that they don't have. And so, right there, understanding that we have to, it's a process. Rome wasn't built in a day. We have to understand that whenever we get things, that we just have to do right by the kids. Set things up. Hey, I know we don't have all the nice buildings, but okay, let's build them step by step. At some point, we need to build something that's solid, because as of right now, I would say this. Have you ever read this book called The $40 Million Slave?
No, I haven't read it.
So it's an awesome read. T.R. Roden, I forgot his last name. Long story short, this book is about literally how, just going back to the Negro Leagues, how blacks at the time had a chance to literally have a monopoly over everything, within sports. But also from the time, at the time, segregation was really, really strong at the time. Mm-hmm. And we just wanted to kind of more assimilate. And it's for whatever reasons it were. All right. But if we had the foresight at the time, in this book, what they're reading is all based on true events, that we would be the monopoly. When the SWAC when Eddie Robb was there and all those guys, that when we had all the talent, the talent came there. Doug Williams, Shaq Harris, Too Tall Jones, all those
Jerry
guys.
Rice.
Jerry Rice, we had it. The Negro Leagues had it, but we also kind of wanted to assimilate, and so we lost the power into our game. And so now we have a reckoning right now. HBCUs are highly lightened now. The spotlight is on us. We have to just try to be intentional about, hey, one of my mottos our president like to always say is, do no harm to the kids. I love it, because honestly, this is what higher ed is. It's literally hey, yeah, we teach them sports, but also let's put them in the best position to succeed. Our kids too, our kids, whether they're black or white or whatever, but definitely our minority kids. And so when we have those things, we have those resources, making sure that we structure them in the right places to, again, do no harm to the kids, but also building these leaders to now not only go back and affect stuff on their campuses and within their communities, but also back in their communities. And that's what it's about, trying to get kids to be able to go back into their communities and instill things that they learn to hopefully better serve their communities. And now we're building a pipeline of now leaders and business owners and things like that. I tell our guys, academics is key. I don't play about that. That's one thing I don't play, because football has an expiration date.
That'd be the first thing you ask me. Gee, what his GPA is?
I gotta ask them. Kids don't know this. Man, I first got to KSU, and we had 65 kids on the team. And first spring got there, and I got there late, and grades were horrendous. They were bad. Got midterms, and I had over 30-some kids that weren't doing well. And I'm sitting there man, and I'm talking to coaches Hug, this is your first spring, it's important. You got to get your culture. I'm but I'm saying man, I'm literally serving our kids a disservice if I put them out there on that field and they ain't got nothing to fall back on whenever they blow their knee out or whenever they dump a ball. And so I cancel spring. Literally. I told them, like, hey, the kids that got the grades, I'm sorry, but we just going to work out and we're going to continue training. And it might hurt us, but we have to understand how important it is. It's about family. Forget about me, I love you, being other-centered in the things that what we do, not only for us, within our communities, within our team, but hopefully that stuff translates into the world. That's why my energy is always high.
That was a bold decision.
Yeah, and so I canceled it. And so I told the other kids, I made them call. I called each and every last one of their parents one by one and told them why they're on suspension, what's the reason they're on suspension, what are the things we're going to do to get them off suspension. And if they do right, I don't have a problem with putting them back on the team. Or whenever they show me they can handle college coursework, I'll bring them back. And that spring, they all did. Like, I think I only had 2 kids that didn't. Every kid we ended up finishing with over 2 I had over 33 kids with a 3.0, 2 with a 4.0, and we finished with a 2.91 GPA. And we were at like a 2.01 or 2.1 something. And so just literally, I'm like, man, I can't not continue to just, hey, put the ball first. Like, because I'm doing them a disservice. Like, the ball going to be there. Like, we played it all our life, man. We know how to do that. And I promise you, I'm the most competitive human being on planet Earth. But for me, like, I cannot sit here and say that you come in here and I'm just going to always be about ball and not also give you something that's going to help you, not only help you, but your family and stuff that's going to help you within the future. Like, I wouldn't be who I said I am. Yeah, I'll be a piece of crap. Like, nah, let's give me some things that's going to hopefully help instill you for whenever you grow in life and whatever you want to do. That's what it's always about for me.
Dope. Man. But here's the question I had, Corey. A lot of these kids today, I don't know, as we talk to kids, transfer portal has always existed. It's always been there, right?
It actually has.
But the thing is, nobody's committing to stay with one program no more. I don't think the majority of kids now, you think about the biggest bulk of population of college sports, no one's staying at from a freshman to senior or time to go pro.
Yeah.
What is the message to a lot of you as a coach to some of the kids to get, not just getting to buy into the culture, but getting into commit to finish? Because not everybody's finishing at the same place they started.
I think the kids are hustling backwards like that. Like, so it's a podcast that I like. Y'all probably know him, like Bomani Jones. Like, I listen to him all the time.
Love Bomani.
Bomani off this, like, smart cat, smart brother,
smart
stuff. And one of the things he always say is, like, kids ain't understanding, like, one thing, like, will help us, like, staying at Southeastern, like, if I actually ever needed something, a help, I stayed at that place for 3-4 years, and now those people know me. So just say I did need a job, I can go back and reach out to that alumni base because I was there 4 years. These kids nowadays, because they move around, like, you build no relationship, you build no camaraderie, you build no history, you actually build actually no footprint because you here, there, you're going tomorrow. So, like, that is, like, it's tough. And I think one of the things is, like, I understand, like, we were raised in a certain type of way. And
before Google.
We
said that, before Google.
Yeah, before Google. And some of the things, like, maybe it was a little hard, but I would understand it. But also, I think that our kids, honestly, just, they don't like to go through nothing anymore. Like, if they can't get it the first time, like, they kind of check out. And I'm just like, hey, at some point, like, man, Boosie said it right. Like, you got to bubble for you got to struggle for your hustle. Like, you got to hustle. Like, you got to hustle before you ball. Like, and so, like, our kids just taking them through some things. Hey, it's not going to kill you. It's only going to make you better. Even if you fail, like, don't be afraid of failure.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid to fail. Like, some of the most failure, like, some of the people that failed a lot, some of the most successful people out there. Just think about the lady that wrote, what's the, not Wizard of Oz, the, J.K. Owen, what's the, I'm blanking on the woman's name. That do, I'm blanking on the name. But anyway, J.R. Tolkien, whatever that lady's name is. But anyway, she was poor, living, and then she did Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
All the Harry Potter books. And
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling, yeah. And so, like, she failed a lot in life to get to those books. And so, like, sometimes, man, we just don't understand how important that stuff is. And the portal is an animal, man. But I just think the kids aren't getting the best advice. And I always tell kids, like, if you want to leave, it's okay. Like, sometime your first place, I transfer, so I understand it. It might not be the best place for you. But understand, okay, first, what's your plan? Like, you got to have a plan. Like, we ain't just leaving just to leave because now you ain't set with me. What is your plan? Like, you have a plan.
Right.
I don't have any problem about helping you, supporting you, whatever. But you just you transferring on a whim or emotionally, like, that's not real life. Like, that's not logical. Like, let's figure out why we doing it. What are the things that we're going to change in our next destination and how we will improve? So now we ain't having to leave again. We ain't out there steady searching for a greener pasture that's, honestly, it probably was there, but you just didn't want to kind of go through nothing to get to it.
Right. I just think that a lot of these kids is just in today's market. And I'm not saying it wasn't us either, but I just think they think so much of now, and they like the information on history.
Yes.
They like that. Okay, when they watch like the NFL draft, they think everybody
don't watch
makes
it
it.
more.
They don't even watch it. But it's like they think everybody road to becoming a professional player is just being the best they can be or being a top echelon player. It's
No
like,
doubt.
that's not how it all works.
Nah.
Some of the best players we've seen came from smaller schools, worked their way through things, got on the field, probably started on special teams. Now there's a 4 or 5 year, starter. They've had a 10-year career. And I think that none of the kids today take account into history of how people get to where they are. They're so caught up into, I can't even define any words.
It's the success.
Yeah. It's like,
it's also what they see.
Yeah.
Because they see like, hey, my guy over at Georgia Tech balling and kicking it and partying. Okay, I need to get that too. Like, there's no understanding that, hey, he probably put a little work in to get to that point. Like, it just didn't happen. Like, if you notice now, like, most kids, it take them a while to kind of flourish because they don't really train, like, basics and fundamentals. Like, right now, I teach our guys basics because I don't really even think they know it. Like, when they come in, I assume they know nothing.
Right.
Like, you assume they know nothing because they probably don't. They just seen what they seen on TikTok. A 10, 15-second
video.
Right. Yeah. And thinking, okay, hey, I'm going to emulate that. And for some of that stuff, it is true you can, but for the most part, like, skill set is skill set. Like, understanding, like I didn't know how to run. I had to learn how to run. I had to run track. Me, Jacoby Jones, and all those guys at Southeastern. Like, that's why I was able to run a 4.4. Like, if I don't do that, like, I probably don't. And I probably don't play ball because I had to go and, okay, take this step to get to this step. You know what I'm saying? Understanding, like, I don't get there until I start here first. Gotta start at the bottom.
But see, I take it into one thing that since I've met G, one of the things that there's two things that he said that I revolutionized it in my coaching. One, parents are the biggest dream killers.
That's my I say that at least 3-4 times a month.
And the second thing,
Mom and Dad.
The second thing is you're only as good as your situation. So if the person that you spend the most time with outside of me is your biggest dream killer, that means your situation is already on the wrong side of the seesaw.
Exactly.
So when you with me, I gotta fix your situation, and I gotta be some type of roadblock in between that I gotta be the reality for your dream.
All within the 2.5 period. 2.5 hour period.
Yeah.
Man.
All within 2.5 hour period.
20 hours a week.
20 hours a week.
And out of the 20 hours, a game got to be played.
Yeah.
And
it'll hit you late at night too.
Like, but it's like it's navigate because, and you've been coaching longer than you're 2 years older than all of us. So like we've all played the game. The game from when we played to now is light years different. These kids don't know the game. These kids don't understand. Like I could tell my kid right now, hey, you got your safety shade. The safety is shading right now. You know what I'm saying? He's shading right now. So you're gonna have a whole player right now. So where the ball gonna go? We just call it double post. So it's gonna go to the first window, the second window. What window?
Well, think about that.
You're bad all over.
Right. So think about that. When you were young and you was with your parents or whoever, your older brother, whoever, they watching sports. All right. If you wanted to watch something else, you couldn't. You had to watch what? You had to watch whatever sports that was on. Baseball, football, basketball. Like we probably like football or basketball, whatever those other sports, probably one of your main sports. But you at least had a general idea, okay, hey, if I play basketball, cut out the baseline. Like, hey, cut out the dominant hand.
Right.
Understanding defense.
You also had a male that was sitting there like
he was
he was telling you, hey man, you see what he do that?
Than anybody else.
Yeah.
Like Kyle was saying, like now most cats don't know ball, but like that guy, he was probably real good. Like he understand at least the base fundamentals.
And it's a ball.
Oh, just think about when you go to your high school. Who always opened up the gym? The janitor. Or the coach. And he was probably always had the best shot. We had one named Wayne Dell. Can shoot the lights out of it. Wayne Dell would sit there and come out at night and he would shoot us to death. But also teach, hey, why you get that boy at the baseline? Like, hey, just put your foot on the baseline. You got out of bounds. That's your teammate. Just understanding like those things right there that those kids nowadays, we ain't sitting in the room without. Well, they not sitting in the room with their parents. Everybody in their phone, everybody looking. So now that added knowledge of, hey, we immersed ourselves in sports. Like it didn't matter what the sport was. Like we was in there.
So you remember Linares L page?
Yeah. First of all, side note, to me, Linares was the coldest cat to come out of New Orleans. Hands down. I know it's a lot of cats. And that's during the time I know.
I say that's on to Daryl.
Like, he definitely up there.
And he definitely up there. Like, I'm thinking about cats in New Orleans now. Like, I'm a history of the game. So
I say second to Daryl.
To Daryl, yeah. And we just had the conversation earlier. Like, Daryl from Opie Walker was probably, well, just from, I would say this. Daryl was probably the coldest because he fit the size, height.
Right.
Prototype. Yeah. Daryl 6'2". 195, 200, like could fly,
could jump,
could play
safe. Pick it off. They gonna run it back. They gonna pick the band.
Now, Linares was 5'10", but if that could play quarterback, could play receiver, could play running back, play DB, play corner,
return specialist.
Looking in the paper one day, back in the day, we got the paper.
Time
McHugh, or the Bad Rules of the Advocate.
Yeah.
On Saturday. L page 6 touchdowns and 3 picks. Like, and we looking like we at the crib in the morning, like, damn, L page. Like,
yeah.
And I know he coaches at Wisconsin. I talked to him when I was at McNeese one day. I said, Coach, he called me, I'm Coach L. I said, Coach, you ain't got to tell me who you are. Coach, I know who you are. So, like, literally, like, you was who we all talked about, like, back in the game, like, fast, explosive, then went to Tulane, played, and, like, killed it. I'm like, he could play receiver too. Like y'all just don't realize y'all ain't know that.
Right.
The kids they don't know that.
They don't know that history though.
That's
what we knew.
It's his own. Like G was mentoring one of his players.
Yeah.
Like, do you know who that is?
They probably didn't.
And he didn't.
He probably didn't.
He didn't.
That's the part
that'd be the funny thing. Like you tell them, okay, all right, they might know Randy Moss, but if you tell them like a side person, they will not. I would say, for instance, like, okay, I used to always say Anquan Bolden. When I was in the league, Tyke Tolbert, our receiver coach in Buffalo, he coached Anquan Bolden. Like, hands down, Anquan was probably the most all-around receiver that you could probably watch. Like, literally.
And wasn't the fastest.
Wasn't the fastest.
You don't realize this. Anquan was a quarterback. 5-star, ran 4.8. Coming in the 40. Anquan was physical. He ran routes the same. He would knock you on your ass. Like, all those things. Tell a kid about that, Coach. You don't know who Anquan Bolden is.
And it's so embarrassing.
Send him a clip.
And it makes you, and then they go say something dumb, like they'll go say a play that they watch today. You be like, who?
Well,
they better than who?
He ain't Mawson, Coach. He ain't doing this.
Yeah, he ain't
Odell.
Yeah, he ain't doing it. You be like, come on now.
If it ain't a highlight, it ain't good.
It ain't.
Like y'all don't know the game.
They don't know the game, and that's the part that's tough.
I think an important aspect, man, with this generation, and I coach a middle school basketball team, and what I implemented this season with them was certain practices they'll show up, we wouldn't even practice. They'll think about the practice, we wouldn't even practice. And I'll bring them in the cafeteria, and we got a TV, and I'll put on a movie. And I got a bucket. Everybody put their phones in the bucket.
Yeah.
Everybody put their phones in the bucket. And the last time I did it, we watched Year of the Bull.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a real good one.
Year of the Bull.
That's old school, too.
And when I tell you that galvanized us as a group. And
how did it do that? Like, I'm always
because
how the cake was made.
Well, you know how the whole movie went when it was some hard coaching.
Right.
Hard coaching. They talking to you stupid. One of the in one of the clips he fought the best player.
The whole saying back in the day, and I know y'all had to say it in New Orleans. Hey, meet me in the shower.
Yeah,
in the shower. Yeah, in the shower. Like, okay, and it didn't matter, coach or player.
Yeah, right.
Meet him in the shower, like 5-10 minutes.
You know about
Let's air it out real quick.
Right.
And it's over with. We back. We good.
Right. What the guy name was? Torrance Small?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and when the movie went off, all of them was just like talking about, damn, boy, I don't know what I'd have did if Coach G would have did me that, blah, blah. And I was explaining to him, that's how we was coached back in the day.
Yes.
And my mama wasn't coming up to the school saying, what you did to my child?
Nah.
My mama was telling me, you must have did something for him to do that to you.
And if you weren't playing it was the reason why.
It was a reason why.
Your mom was like, okay. Your daddy was like, okay, work harder. And
Yeah.
as you work harder,
I'm not about to
being
transfer
able
you to another school.
Nah, you don't quit nothing.
Right.
Like
and
that
that's
was one thing. You can't quit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the kids today. It's a, and I'm not saying that portal is a quitting
Nah,
mentality.
for some reason it was granted. It was warranted for some of it.
It just now it's just at the point where the kids now, when it like G was alluded to, that galvanizing, putting kids together and getting kids to bond and getting kids to understand that, look, your phone devices don't matter right now. This is a team building exercise.
Yes.
And it's like everybody's caught in the matrix with these phones.
Yeah.
And there's real life going on. And in real life, you got to deal with real things in real time.
Oh, man. They don't even understand how to do that. That's why I said most of the job is when you're talking to kids, if you in any aspect, the majority of your job is not really coaching. It's just trying to teach a kid, like,
Teach them
kid,
how
like,
to
hey, to communicate. Yeah. I got a kid that'll tell me, hey, coach, how am I supposed to go contact my teacher? Email.
Right.
Like,
email.
Right.
Like, go speak to her. Like, how I'm supposed to do that? What I'm supposed to say to her, coach? Introduce yourself.
Right.
Yeah, say this. Like you said, like none of those small things that they only know how to communicate on this and none of this formal.
The matrix.
Yeah,
facts.
And I like what you call it, the matrix. I actually use that.
The matrix. I was talking about like it's like a flip of what G did, but like when my players come up to me, because we call it our defense, we call it the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when they come up to me, man, coach, man, got a question for you. I say, all right, man, what you got for me? You know, the dark side never let you down. That's how our conversations go. The players are vice versa with me. Man, I'm about to DM this girl so to see if I could get her to go to prom with me. I said, why DM her? Go talk to her.
Yeah, go talk to her.
Man, I ain't about to get shamed in front of my face. I said, man, look, let me tell you something, bro. There's a guy, a little story about a black book. You better build your black book up. If that black, if
not the old Rolodex.
If one say no, they got about 3 or 4 that goes in. But like they're afraid of rejection.
Right.
Mm-hmm. They're afraid of confrontation.
Yes.
But they play the big bag wolf because over here, I'm protected.
Right.
There's nothing I can do all this all day.
I got
Man,
see,
you know what I'm saying? And like
I act like this never happened.
Yeah, and the chances of me meeting the person that I'm going back and forth with are slim to none. Unless in a small time. But like the thought of, man, you've been going to school with this girl since pre-K.
Mm-hmm.
A simple, hey, when you go to dance with me, it's gonna kill you. She gonna say, it's 2 days she can say, yeah or no.
Right.
Get it over with.
No doubt.
They are.
And it's so funny you say that. So I had a alumni at KSU named Jabbar Godfrey. Like Jabbar, he's a motivational speaker for Nike. He's done Michigan, Ohio State, all these big schools and brands. Like he does mental health motivational speaking. So I told Jabbar, like, I'm big on, like, I want our guys, yes, I play in the league, I can bring a lot of those guys around. But I'm also, like, I like to show our guys, like, people that made it successful outside of ball.
No
like,
doubt.
hey, you graduated, look what he does.
Right.
Jabbar was able to bring a bunch of people that went to K-State, alumni that now flourishing outside of their role. Got an alumni that's working with the G League. I got an alumni that has a Fortune 500 company. So Jabbar had alumni that's actually an actor. And so he was up and he was going through this spiel we had before the Morehouse game, was just talking about, hey, like, understanding, like, when you trying to make connections or just understanding in life, when you have an opportunity, like, we ain't finna go message nobody. Like, open your mouth and just go over there and speak. So he said, hey, who all want to be like an actor, a model? So one of my kids named Michael McGee at the time raised his hand. He said, okay, how many of you guys in this room is an actor, professional actor, acting in movies or acting in certain things? And one alumni was like, me. It's a guy, he's been in like, I forgot a couple of different movies or whatever. And he's also works for Old Spice. He was in commercial ads. He said, that's me. He said, okay, what do you want to do? He said, oh, okay, introduce me to him. He said, no, get your behind over there and go introduce yourself right now. Like, that's the moment. Like, what are you waiting on?
What are you waiting on?
Like, seize the moment, seize the opportunity. It'll mean more if you go and introduce yourself and now talk to that brother in person than now you trying to formally, and now he still has to go about trying to figure out who you are, if he even answer your message, when right now there's no such thing. The best impression is the first impression. Like, go over there and do it. And like, that was powerful. And I was just like, wow. Like, that was important. Like, even for me, like, I learned the bar, like, hey, understanding, like, hey, it's okay to ask for help. Go over there sometime, introduce yourself to people. You never know how far that'll take you. You never know. Like, for us, we've done it a lot in the community, trying to get out and do things. And now people come up to us just because, hey, they seen us out and they seen the good things that we do. And so hey, Coach Huggins, whatever you need, what do you need help with this? or hey, I got a kid for you that can fit, or hey, we donate you this. And so it's all about just giving back and giving forward, but also seizing the moment and taking advantage of your opportunities. Like, don't let an opportunity pass you by. Like, you never know who you're in the room with if you don't open your mouth and talk.
Facts. Well, one of the things I'm so big on with this younger generation, and I'm always preaching it, and any kid that watching this podcast, they gonna be like, man, Coach G ain't lying. I'm big on communication.
Oh, got to be.
Big on communication. I'm big on being able to hold a conversation. Yep. I'm big on having your undivided attention when we talking about something. And I think one of the biggest things is parents, we got to do a better job of when our kids come home from school or we come home from work. Man, let's take the time to just put the phones down, sit at the table, have something to eat. Man, tell me what happened at school today. I don't care how small and insignificant you might think it is. Let's have dialogue. Yep. And I think that's what's missing at home. You know, I think a lot of parents, they coming home, they on the phone or they in their phone and they putting something to eat on the stove and then they go in their room and closing the door. Mm-hmm. And social media is raising our generation. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with a kid. They can't even look me in my eye. They don't even understand how to hold a conversation. They don't even know how to spell certain words. If I tell them, like, look, go write this on a piece of paper and I'm going to send it to this person for you. And I look at the paper and I'm like, bro, you don't know how to spell? Because the devices, they are showing that, you know, autocorrect.
Autocorrect.
Yep. And so I said all of this to say, man, I just think that us being leader of men, we got to keep on pushing the needle, man, on making kids understand the importance of communication. Because just like you said, you never know who you're in a room with. You know, you might be in a room with somebody that could get you a job or get you further ahead in your career, and you don't even understand how to go up to that person and hold a conversation and articulate yourself the right way to put yourself in position to get further in your career. And so we teach that through the game of sports. Yep. Because, you know, sports, man, that's why I love sports so much, dog, because it teaches you so many life skills, bro.
Okay, if you don't communicate, you don't know the play. Or you don't get the defensive call. You don't get the offensive call.
It's crazy that you say that, G, because Fred can tell you, G asked me, like, every year, man, hey, who you got for me? I need him to play on my 7-on-7 team. Man, boom, boom. And one is the respect I have for G, but two, it's a teachable moment. And that was one day that I've learned during coach, never pass up a teachable moment.
Oh, never. So
when G was like, hey, who you got for me, man? Or who up there? I give them their number. I say, look, this is a guy. He runs the 707 league for Under Armour. This is not a text message. This is not an email. You call him, you introduce yourself, and we'll go from there. Mm-hmm. He has the final say so. Gee, how many calls you have got? Because they're afraid of that. But then they'll keep, like, when he comes around, man, oh, it's G-Sport. Man, I didn't know you know G. Man, you tell me what we say on the podcast. When we was live, you was telling me what we say live. So you know, I know, you know, like we have a genuine relationship. You know that we're about the kids. But the reason why I do that is if you can't sit there and have a conversation with G, somebody who's not asking you for money, right? Who's only trying to publicize you, you know, get you exposure, just give you a different experience,
just give you an opportunity.
What you gonna do when a Coach Huggins come sit down in your kitchen at your kitchen table, and Coach Huggins is stuck between and G, and they both the same. You know what I'm saying? I got one scholarship brother. Whoever gonna sell me the best is gonna win. And you can't have that conversation because you check my highlight, check my huddle. Man, that's doctor.
I want to know who you are.
I want to know who you are.
Yeah,
but you can't. Like, Coach Hank just gave you an opportunity to talk to somebody that don't want nothing for you. Hey, look, I trust him. He's not gonna send me no. Right. He knows what I do, so he's gonna protect my brand on that aspect. So he's not gonna recommend nobody that's gonna be bad for me.
Right.
But he can't, Mr. Jeremiah, I'm such and such, player St. Helena, Coach Singleton told me to give you a call. Let's talk.
Yep.
You kids don't want to have uncomfortable conversations.
So didn't pass up teacher moment. So like every year since I was at A-Meet, he's been asking me that. And every year, that's what I've been doing. And to this day, he's yet to get a call. That's been like 8 years.
So like, I didn't realize how important these two bars y'all just said about the communication, kids communicating, until after I left Charleston Southern, I taught a year in high school. So I went back. That's what I went to school for, a teacher. Like being a coach is a teacher, like point blank period.
No doubt.
Like,
Right.
you teaching, like if you want to coach, you might as well teach, because that's what you're doing. And so one of the biggest things I learned, that was right before COVID, when I was doing COVID, right after COVID, like understanding when you catch kids early and like talking to them and ask them, like, this is how you kind of start kids to communicate. Like if you don't start them early, then they won't communicate. They'll feel shy. They'll feel socially awkward. They'll feel uncomfortable. Like when I used to ask a kid how he was doing, like I used to tell him, no, like I really want to know how you're doing.
Right.
Like I want to
I'm
know.
not just small talking.
Yeah, I'm not small talking. You like, no, tell me what's going on. I had this one kid, man, that I won't say his name, but no one used to talk to him when I was at Slaughter. And for me, I talked to anybody. Like it didn't matter. Like, what's going on, big fella? That's always a term of endearment. I kind of, it makes it open and inviting. I smile. And at first he kind of walked by me just like, what's up? I said, man, come talk to me. It sounds like you got something going on. What's going on? And then we just kind of small talk. And then the next day he came back around. He's like, what's up, Coach Huggins? First time he had spoke. Like literally like the 2 months I was there at first. And he kind of spoke to me, and then we talked a little bit more. And then the next time we talked, he opened up and told me what's going on in his household. Like, you know, tough household, in and mom and dad in and out the house. Don't really have a father figure in there. Like, just rough. And he was just literally just opening up. And this was a white kid. Like, he was just trying to find someone to open up, to at least vent about what he has going on.
And that he could trust.
That he can trust. Hopefully help him. And if it doesn't, at least he knows he has an ally. And someone that, hey, they're not going to judge him for what's going on in his life or what shortcomings that he may have. And hopefully that part right there, and the kid ended up doing well. And I just always took that with me. Like, hey, when I ask a kid how you doing, like, I really want to know, like, how you doing. Like, so now whenever the next person that you go talk to, you know how to have that conversation and not feel uncomfortable or not feel like your guard has to be up because they're going to use whatever they're about to say against you. And so that was always important to me, man. I had to be intentional about those things.
How do we, as young black men, because I still feel like we young.
Oh, I'm 41 years old.
I'm about to make 40 in July. I still feel like we young, bro. How do we do a better job of, you know, as leader of young people, understanding the dynamics that everybody home life not the best, and how do we change the narrative of, you know, young, and not just black kids, but all kids, white, Hispanic, it don't matter. Just changing the dynamic of their mindsets, bro.
Yeah.
Coming from poverty or coming from a alcoholic household or abusive household or whatever the case may be, molestation, you name it.
Yeah.
I've heard it and seen it. Right? How do we change the narrative in their mindset, bro, that they don't have to be a product of the environment?
And before you answer that, I want to add on and prepare them for the next chapter of their life, whether it's athletics, academic, or just life. To marry all that together.
Well, man, I guess the first thing is just letting them know, like, hey, we still go through some of this stuff too. Like, just because we're adults don't mean that we're not immune to. We have family members that still are in those environments.
Life be lifing.
Yeah, life be lifing. Life be lifing, man. It don't stop. Like, I always tell people, like, that when it's gloomy outside, that's life waiting on you. Like, it's going to affect you. Like, my kids like, Coach, your energy always how you smile. I'm like, man, I understand that at the end of the day, life is short. And I understand that as long as the good Lord give me the opportunity to wake up, at the end of the day, I have no complaints. If I'm going to worry, why pray if I'm going to worry? And so, like, for me, just first and foremost, just letting the kids know that you care. But also, when you let them know that you care, not being afraid to tell them and hold them accountable. Like, my dad always taught me, be firm, but be fair. Like, whenever you firm, but be fair, like, the kid will give you the world because he'll always know you're never going to do things without the best intentions. Even at the point in time where they might feel it is, they'll think about it and they'll come back and say, you know what, Coach, I understand it. I probably blah, 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 blah. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that, whatever. And just always let them know, like, hey, even though I'm telling you these things, like, doesn't mean that I probably hadn't been in this situation or not know someone else is doing that situation or probably still dealing with that situation. Some of the things that our kids talk about, like, hell, I've done it or probably still deal with it. And so understanding that also I've been through things like mental health and stuff that is very, very important nowadays. I don't like to weaponize it, but I do like to make sure and I let people know that I understand it, and it all is an issue, and it is something that we have to go through. I thought COVID, it affected all of us. I know it affected me.
Yeah.
Just understanding that man, like each and every day, man, like your environment of anything can throw you off kilter, could really affect you, and so just always just we had an interview the other day, and a guy just told me to say you always listen, learn, and lead. Like when you come in, you listen, and then you learn what's going on. And then once you learn what's going on, then you lead. And so like just taking that bar and just like understanding, okay, hey, before I even make my judgment, let me figure out what's going on with the kid. Like, what is a girl, a young lady, or a young man? And then now learning about, okay, what is about this situation that we must understand to try to fix or whatever. And then understanding that we might not fix the situation, but at least we can put you in position or put you around the right people to help you fix whatever you're going on.
Facts.
And then after that, now we finding out how we're going to attack it and let them know that we're going to attack it together. Like at the end of the day, I always tell my kids, like, don't lie to me. As long as you don't lie to me, I promise you, and I'm intentional about this, like I don't like the mistreatment of kids. Like in our profession right now, like the mistreatment of kids, and even as we was coming up, like it's very, very rampant right now.
Right.
And they don't understand a lot of things that reason a kid is not maybe responsive as to what they were when you watched them on film. It's probably environment. Probably that I can tell you for a fact, I recruit East St. Louis, they'll tell you like, hey, from where they're from, they don't really trust my Caucasians. Like they don't trust white folks. And that's an environment that some coaches don't understand that when your kid come in and he's not receptive to what you're saying, it's probably why. Like he's not used to seeing around. He's not used to that approach or someone like that telling them, hey, you need to do this or whatever, or I'm going to kick you off. Like, now we're not understanding. And so, like, long as you firm, you let them know what's the reason is, but you're fair, and just tell them, like, hey, I always like to say at the end of the day, whatever we talked about, I'm not going to let you leave the building or let you leave my office before you got a clear understanding of why I said what I said and what was the reason why I said what I said and how can we fix it to now move forward to where we don't have that issue anymore. And understand, like, I get it. Sometimes it's good to say, excuse my language, I effed up, coach.
Right.
Like, okay, cool. That's great.
We human.
We human. Now, okay, what are we gonna do?
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, what are we gonna do to fix it? Like one of my players, Bobby Hayes, one of my best players on the team right now. I let Bobby talk to a lot of league cats. Every time he come in, like, coach, I call one of you probably play in the league. Like I let him talk to Robert Roy, another New Orleans legend, playing the car.
Yep.
Rob talked to him about, and all of them kind of told him the same thing, like, hey, what are you gonna do different when adversity hits? Like, how are you going to handle those things? Like, what are the things that you're going to do? Like, I let them talk to one of my buddies, Spencer Johnson. Like, I just let them talk to guys. And that message for cats in the league, like, you ever talk to a cat in the league? Like, they'll tell you that message is all similar. Like, hey, be where your feet are. Like, at the end of the day, you got to go above and beyond the next guy to get to where you got to go. Like, it doesn't matter if you was a 5-star or 4-star. The expectations of you supposed to be this are tremendous, like, because you're coming from a place to where a lot of people where you from don't make it. Like, wherever you came from, a lot of people, you got stories that show that they weren't yet. So now just understanding, like, what is the process? What was the mindset that you guys did to get to these points? And just also letting our kids understand, like, whatever you're going through, like, I'm going to be there with you. Like, I promise you. If I can't figure it out, I promise you I'm going to go find the things I can to help you guys succeed, man. That's what it's about for me. Like, I really don't. I've done the things I want to do. Like, this is just what I love to do, man. Just if I can help a kid do the things they want to do, whether it's on the field and off the field, that's the only thing that matters to me. And I'm very intentional about that.
Seeing them figure it out, boy, that's so gratifying.
Oh, that's the best feeling.
That's you can't put a price.
Kid. Oh, you can't.
Oh, no.
Just watching them figure it out, watching them now understand, like, hey, like, I just remember that moment I thought I figured it out, like, oh, snap, this is what it was to be a college student. Take it behind, sit in the front, speak to the teacher, even when you don't know stuff. Oh, I see you had a good game that game. Okay, come on here, let me help you. Like, and they didn't have to, but they did it. Like, understanding those things and understand, like, at the end of the day, enjoy the small wins because they also, where we're from and how we are, they don't come a lot. And so when you get those small wins, just understanding that you get them, don't be satisfied. You got to continue grinding because there's always someone out there that's trying to get to where you got to go. So
I got a 2-part question for you before we get ready to close down.
Gotcha.
Man, I was watching the NFL Combine very closely last weekend, man, and
I watched it a little bit too.
these receivers, bro.
Oh man,
It's a deep receiver draft. That's your position, man. That's your position, FT, man. My first question is, man, what, if you was a team of need, and you needed a receiver,
okay,
who you going with at 1 and why?
Oh.
And my second question is,
that's a tough one.
with the way the receiver position is being played now versus when you was coming out and when you was at Southeastern, how have you adapted to how the receiver position is played now and when it comes to teaching your kids and getting them to enhance their receiver skills?
All right, so the draft, the receivers, man, the top 4 are like sick. Like, first of all, you got all of them. You got 2 that got height, size, wingspan. What you looking for? Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
You got Rome Odunze. Like, low key, Rome Odunze a dog. Like, he cold blooded. Like 6'3", almost 220. He ran low 4.4. Got a catch rate is out this world. Like, I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is that guy. Like, he's that deal. But man, like Rome Odunze, like he's an animal. So like for me, it's still Marvin Harrison Jr. I like Malik, but I know Malik is kind of like that slot guy. But Malik got versatility too. Like that's one thing I know Malik is going to excel in the league because you can move him wherever. Like he can play outside, he can play inside. He's good in separation. Like he's a after yak guy. Like you want that guy. Like fresh legs. Like yeah. But the sleeper guy that I'm not gonna lie, I think he gonna be an animal. He from here, Brian Thomas, man. Brian Thomas, and this cat was a straight basketball player. Again, that's knowing your history. I wasn't even here in Louisiana at that time, but I always like we were just having this conversation. We were just having this conversation about Jarvis Landry. Like I told you, like I knew Jarvis. I used to show cats where I was in Georgia. Like, hey, no, I was in league. Like, hey, this is I played against his brother Gerard.
Yeah,
Gerard was at Southern. Like, look at this cat right here. Like, I used to show Josh Reed them all the time. Play that rain. Josh, like, this cat right here at your alma mater, like, he gonna be that dude. Like, you just know. Like, but Brian Thomas, like, just watch.
A freak.
He a freak.
He freaking nature.
Like, 6'4", he 210, 220. He ran 4.3, jump out the gym. Like, a lot of stuff you're getting now in football is kind of matchup based. Like, you're getting a lot of cover one because teams run the ball so well. It's RPO based. So now you're getting a lot of matchup on the outside. And that guy, that kid, man, like once he figures it out, because he's super still raw, and you can tell. But like once he figured it out, and he had probably one of the best top receiver coaches in the nation, which is Cortez, Coach Hankton. Man, like kid gonna be an animal. Like I'm excited to see now once like wherever he goes and how he fits and how he flourishes. Like I think he's a sleeper. But if I go, I'm like Marvin Harrison 1, Rome Odunze 2. Malik Neighbors 3, but it's a close 3 between all of them.
Do you think some of the NFL scouts and with some of the media is saying when Keon Coleman ran that 4.6, are you putting that much emphasis on it if you in the league?
No.
Versus when you put the tape on?
No. I love game speed. Like I watch cats like when I was in the league, like I would just say, and even though Darius Bay had a long career, but he ran 4.3, but didn't catch the ball that well. Like we've always played. You've been in the league. Dante Stallworth. Right. Now he figured it out towards the end, but a lot of those guys don't. Playing speed is key. Like I just remember, going into my 3rd year when I was in the league, and just now going against all the older guys. That was my 3rd year. I was on practice squad, and now the game finally slowing down. Man, like understanding, like you don't even have to like once you got to play, you knew what you had to do. You knew your adjustments. And now it's just scanning the field. So now you can run and move at your own speed and your own pace. But to everybody else, it's like it's frenetic. But to you, I always just call it like poetry in motion. And so now just the receivers nowadays, like the kids not understanding like, hey, like wasted motion. Like I think that's the only real thing that kids don't understand nowadays. I see you set up on that.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
Like the kids wasted motion.
They got all this crossover.
It's all
But they watching Justin Jefferson.
And it's watching it, but they're not understanding like after a while, like the clock process that Justin's having when he spends that much time at the line. And also, like, he ain't stepping back. He's just more working at the line. Like, Tyke Toby's always teaches, man, like, take your time at the line. Like, have a plan. After that plan goes, you got to have another plan. After that plan fails, have another one. Just always, it's basketball on grass when you're at the receiver position.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie Johnson, my dog, like
He was a dog with Buffalo.
was a dog.
What is he like 5'9"?
No, Steve was 6'1", 6'2".
He was. I don't know why I thought he was small.
Cats don't know this. And me and Roscoe Parrish was literally talking about this on the phone the other day. I was talking to Roscoe about a month ago. I'm recruiting his son. Stevie was the best, like, hands down, press release receiver I've ever seen in life. Like, he was the first cat I really paid attention to, and you can ask Cats this, I'm not lying, and I will let you see this. Like, I watched, like, start the hezzy, like, that hezzy trend.
Yeah.
Just understanding with the hezzy and the crossover, but it was always forward. Steve never went backwards. Like, never took a false step. Everything was always attacking vertically. Even when he gave you the hezzy and he crossed you over, he was moving forward. And that's the thing I think, that's the only thing the kids don't understand. Like, they don't understand, like, timing. And, yes, you can use hezzy and all those tricks, but it still has to understand that a clock has to go off in your head. Yeah, that
you got to move forward.
The ball is here. So I need you to be here to now when that drop is there, you're not there, then we off you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when we was in Buffalo, we played in the St. Louis Rams offense. That was an old Mike Martz. What's called
Greatest show on
turf.
Yeah. But all that stuff, people don't realize that, like, that whole offense was structured off steps. Like, it was steps and the drops they tied into everything. So, like, the offense was hard as I don't know what. We had, like, say, you did a route tree, and it was route trees at the time. Like, you run a 4 route. Okay, 4 route was what? A dig.
Dig.
And that offense, dig route was a short 4. You got a big 4. You got a spin 4.
Damn.
You got a cut 4. You have a and all of it was based on steps. It was no breakdown. You had to speed cut a lot of that stuff. It was 4th outside, 4th inside. Like, you had 3 to 4 different routes of each route tree, of each route concept. And so you had to if you was not at the proper place, oh, he was coming in, hey, I need to bring guys in. What's up? I got the playbook. Bring me some more receivers in. I'm getting rid of you. Like, it was like that. And so kids understand, like, and that's with me, like, I was like, okay, but you still had enough time to, like, okay, if you spent time at the line, you got to speeden up your route. Like, you have to quicken up your route.
Mm-hmm.
And kids don't understand that, and they be like, well, coach, you ain't let me. I don't mind you getting, whatever you want to call it, like, getting busy at the line or whatever, but you got to understand, like, it's a purpose. Like, you have to have a plan, and you have to get to this spot before. If not, we're sacked. Like, we don't have all that time. So just understanding taking wasted motion out. Like, you got wasted motion, give me 10. Like, you got to get off. Like, no wasted motion. Like, everything we have to do, we have to tax forward. That goes back to that Anquan Bolden deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Anquan was just, he wasn't a speed guy. But Anquan would get deep on catch. Steve wasn't a speed guy. Steve would tell you, but Steve would go forward, beat a guy at the line, and that's when I understood, like, separation. Like, I was a fast guy. Yeah, I was 4'4", but I didn't even really have to play 4'4" because I understand, like, if you get separation at the top of the route, that's all you need. Like, understanding, like, everybody look like I'm running, but I'm not. Like, cats understand, like, Steve running, but he ain't. Like, he's in his own zone. But the DB in phase, he's grinding, he digging, and then Steve hit him with a inside out or outside in, and then it's over with. Like, working the box, like, kids don't understand those things.
Right.
Like, that's why I don't teach my guys, I don't pigeonhole them like, okay, you run a curl, you got to release inside. Like, why would I do that? Now I'm setting you up for failure because the minute that kid play hard inside, you have no plan on how to get him if he was inside. Like, nah, let him play inside. We'll go outside. Now we want to get him deep. We want to sell the go, and then now once we get him on our hip, we throw by, now we work the curl. Just understanding, having different aspects. But we can't do that if we're working backwards. We can't do that if we hadn't closed the cushion and now we hezzying, but we hezzying 5 yards away. DB wait, no, you can hezzy all day. I'm gonna sit here. Like, I ain't even moving.
I'm
gonna wait on you. That's the same that D line. Like, if you got as the O line, O tackle's vertical setting, and you make that inside move 5 yards away, all you gonna do is sit on you.
Yeah, well,
like,
thank you.
They gonna take you where you want to go. Like, okay, appreciate you.
Gotta get him off his. Gotta get him off his spot.
Get him up. Like, I always teach him, like, get him off his landmark, make him uncomfortable.
Right.
Like, once you get him off his landmark and make him uncomfortable, now you got him, and now you know where you're going. He don't. He's uncomfortable. Now he's frantic because he's trying to figure out, okay, where he going? Outside, in. Where he going? Like, so that's the biggest thing. Like, no wasted motion.
One thing too, I started seeing a lot now with receivers, and it's starting to like trickle into the league.
Oh no,
starting to see a lot of body catching.
Oh
like,
yeah,
like it's like you don't see the Fitzgerald, the Reggie Wayne was big. Like that whole generation. Like all the top dogs when they was coming back from the curl, you seen the diamond come. You thought they went to Rockefeller.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now they just like they letting the ball get all up on them and like trying to just trap it and stuff. It's like there's no pure hand catchers.
So I think
like talk about no more.
So I think
Got a
with
few
that,
now. Hold on now.
it's a few.
I say that's why I said not many. I said, but it's a lot of
But I would
bodies.
say I think the biggest thing that's tough for those kids is like when I first got a receiver, like I didn't wear gloves. Like in college, I did not wear gloves. The only thing I wore was tape around the finger. So when I put gloves on, like I was like, that's uncomfortable. That's weird. Name me how many kids y'all seen in college or league right now that don't wear gloves.
They all
wear gloves.
So the glove, even though, and then I ended up wearing gloves in the league, and it helps you, it stops the ball when it got speed, it slows it down, but it really, you don't have to squeeze as strong as if you caught the ball with your hands. So just think, like, we didn't have gloves when we was in the backyard. Like, you play,
Right.
you catch the ball, have you catch the ball. Someone, your older brother, threw that ball hard to you. What you had to do when you catch that ball? You got to give with it, because if not, he going to bust your chest
Right.
wide open, or he going to bust your mouth open. So they don't do that. Like, with the gloves, you can snap it and snatch it right then and there. You don't have to give it the ball. So now, a lot of those things, those tips and tricks that you're learning, you don't, like I always tell kids, treat your eyes like a camera. Like, take a picture of it every time you catch the ball. Like, every time the ball coming in, you always take a snapshot of the frame. We don't do that anymore. Like, they don't have to. So now I think the gloves is the biggest issue, because they don't really have to squeeze as much. The gloves kind of stop a lot of the impact, and also now you don't have to embrace with the ball. So now when some of those kids get some of those high traffic catches, like, they don't really know how to kind of function in that way. So it's just more about now, like, a lot of receiver coaches. One of my guys that played for me, my receiver coach, now he played for me. So now he'll teach a lot of those things. Like, yeah, it's certain positions like we had to body catch. Josh Reed teach me that all the time. Working in the slot, hey, that's when you body catch, because you're going to take a shot.
You take a shot.
On the perimeter, yeah, like you catch with your hands. Like, you out there by yourself, ain't nobody out there with you. You pluck it. Like T.O. used to pluck the hell out the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
He's the body catch too, though.
Yeah, he did. He did.
One of the hardest working cats I ever watched in the league, man. Like, T.O. is good dude. Whatever people say about him is super false. But, like, hardest working cat, man. Like, T.O. will run reps. Even when OTAs, when older guys ain't had to be there, man, he was still up. Like,
So
grinding.
damn in shape.
Oh, man, so much. Run, go routes. T.O. used to run. People don't know this. Rob Roy know this, too. T.O. used to practice in the old line cleats, them old heavy bottom, molded bottom cleats.
The high top.
That high tops. Them 90 boys that everybody used to wear with the hard, heavy molded. He used to practice in them. No lie. I'm like, we used to be like, man, what you doing? Man, I'm finna practice in these, man. Like, T.O. was country, Chattanooga, Alabama. Man, what you talking about? And we'll go out there and route cats up. Like, with the heavy bottom on. Come out of comebacks, like, and dig. And I'm like, man, this dude, he a freak. Like, he's sick.
Why you think, and this is my last one, but I got to get your take on it. Why is it every year somebody's projected to go, say, second, third round? Soon as they test and run a fast 40, they shoot up to the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brian Thomas. Like, a lot of people had him slotted going early second, middle of the second. Now they're saying he going top 15.
Mm-hmm.
Why does the league put so much emphasis on that 40-yard dash?
It's just hard to not, like, speed kill. Like, either you got it or you don't.
But, like, what happened to just putting the tape on?
But and it's true. No, I 100% agree with you. Like, I'm just trying not to say names. Like, I know cats, like, that had that fast 40, but it just didn't translate. Like,
John Ross.
John Ross was one. That or two, but just couldn't. It's just hard. Like, either you're born with speed or you're not. If you can cultivate like Tyreek Hill, then now you got a player like Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm. Or a guy out of Baylor.
Most explosive. Corey Coleman was another one. Like, man.
At that fast 40.
But they couldn't.
First round.
It couldn't translate. But it's just hard. Like, speed kills, and only so many people have it. And then now when you get a guy like Brian Thomas, who's 6'4", 220, and running 4.3, and he looked like maybe the next incarnation of Moss,
right?
Possibly. Like, I mean, they gone. Like, you can't get like. That's just like Vince Young and Cam Newton. Like, people talk about Cam. Like, Cam, if you've ever seen Cam in person, like, Cam
huge,
enormously
huge. Yes.
He's huge. Human being.
Yes.
Like, this cat run 4.5.
He supposed to be a DN.
Yeah, he's a DN. but he runs 4.5. Like, just seeing a cat like that, you know he has leadership qualities. Like, people don't know Cam work his butt off. Like, Cam in the gym, in the office watching film at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and now he has that size, speed, strength, wingspan, height, weight ratio.
Mindset.
Like, you salivate over that. And even for us, like, we see it, but it's just more of like, okay, what is your core values? Like, okay, what do you value more? Do you value speed? Or is speed just a bonus to whatever the other thing that you value more in the receiver? Right. And that's the kind of thing that they have to decide, and that's more up to them than
I think at that combine, like, I get an example, we get ready to wrap up, but Puka Nacua, right? He runs this 4.55.
I didn't even know about that cat.
But during that gauntlet that they have at the combine, they do the catch and they kind of run straight, and they're trying to measure how fast a guy can run, like miles per hour wise.
Yep.
Well, he had the fastest time.
Wasn't he fast as Corey Coleman? Corey Coleman did it.
Corey Coleman the fastest this year.
Yeah, okay.
Corey Coleman the fastest.
Keon was like third.
Keon Coleman was fast this year.
Second or first?
No, he was first this year.
He was first 21 miles per hour.
Yes. Keon Coleman was the fastest this year.
Mm-hmm.
But last year, in that same gauntlet, Puka
Nacua
ran the fastest. And he ran a 4.55. But to go to that credit, he's the number one rookie receiver out of all the receivers last year for the Rams. He puts up 1,400 yards. He's the one having all the receptions.
But
right?
it goes to look at the system he played in.
Right.
Versus,
well, it ain't really even system, though. It's more of like, he said, kind of like, that guy literally, he can still run 4.5 and still play 4.5. And that goes now to more of probably that cerebral aspect that he has as well. Like, hey, going through the gauntlet, like, he didn't wave off the line.
He didn't wave off the line.
He didn't weave off the line. He was straightforward, and he played at that same speed. Them same cats that ran 4.2, I was just back and look at
waving.
how much they weaved and how fast were they going when they caught that ball.
Troy Franklin was one of the fastest guys.
From Morgan.
Mm-hmm. Bobbing and weaving.
Really?
I watched it. Trust me.
I watched it too. I think that them saying Keon probably pushed himself out of the first round because he ran a 4.6 is an injustice.
It's an injustice.
Because I think he has a great chance to be the next Brandon Marshall.
You seen week one?
He's a strong runner. He's a strong receiver, physical.
He got a chance.
I think he can too.
Did you see
and
week
a little
one?
more speed than him.
I
think more dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, to me, the biggest indicator that I like at receivers, I just like their first 10. Like, I want to see how you explode off the ball. And then the most important thing that I look for in receivers within that testing, it ain't really that 40. It's short shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, I want
in and out. Your cuts,
breaks. That's me. Like, you get out them breaks. Like, I got a kid right now, and that stuff we working the train for him, so Trey don't mind me telling this. Trey, we tested him the other day. Trey ran like literally 4.5 flat. But then he short shuttle like 4.8. And that's just, he can't get out of the breaks. Like, he can't stop and change direction. Like, that's what you want. Like, I'll take a kid to run high 4.5. But if he can tell me, okay, if he's a receiver, he can go sub 4, like 4.10 and sub below, I'll take him all day, because now I know once he stick his toe on the ground, he can get in and out of that breaks. And now he can create that separation, because the key is, at the end, is just the separation. Like, even if you're a 4, like I think Steve ran high 4.5. But Steve knew that if I get you at the line, my burst and my first step was enough to create the separation. Whatever speed I had, that's all I needed. And Lee Evans was the same way. Like, Lee Evans was a deep ball, like
from Wisconsin.
Ran 4.3. But Lee's first step was good, and he knew that, okay, as long as I can create separation at the top of the route, whatever I'm doing, that's all it is. That's all I need. Like, all these stuff that I learned from these cats, man, I was just always a sponge. And so just now understanding, like, but Lee's short shuttle was below 4 flat. I think Lee did like 4.01 up, I think 3.99. And that's from Wisconsin. Like, was moving. Like, T.O. short shuttle, like, is below sub 4 flat. Like, get in and out. Josh Reed was the same way. Wasn't a burner, but Josh can get in and out of breaks. Like, that's the key measurement for me on how successful a receiver. And it's not the most important thing, but one of the key important things. Like, how he gets in and out of his breaks.
I'm with you on that. Yeah. I'm with you on that. Got to get into FT's favorites, man. Before we shut it down, here we go. Favorite football player of all time, no matter what level.
Ooh. Randy Moss.
Flip-flops.
Randy Moss. And I was tough because I'm a 49er fan through and through. And Jerry Rice was.
You a 49 fan?
Yes, I am.
Sorry for you.
I know, and I'm not a big Purdy fan. But I understand. Like,
You should be mad at Purdy. You should be mad at Kyle Shanahan for the third Super Bowl in a row that he had.
He did. He
stopped running the ball.
He did.
He pissed down his legs.
And honestly, Randy was a San Fran. He didn't get to do what he did too. But Randy Moss for me is like, I watched this cat score 3 touchdowns in one half on some Buffalo. I was on P Squad at that time, and I got to see it live in 3D. And that cat is sick.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about like he had one play. He literally they snapped the ball, and after 3 steps, he threw his hand up. Like that old, like when you heard people say, no, it's true. Threw his hand up. We had over top coverage and everything. He lit us up. He was out the game in the third quarter. Like he had 4 touchdowns, 3 in the first half. Like lit us up.
The Saints.
Oh, he different, dog.
That's when it was the Patriots?
Yes. That was the year when
I remember that.
Brady. They should have won it too. They was sick though, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, my God.
We had Brandon Jacobs on. He was
Yes.
talking that shit.
Yeah.
He was talking that shit.
Nobody could stop Moss that year, man. Right. He was on one, and then they had Wes Welker in the slide, and like, man, he was on a whole different. He was on a different atmosphere, man, and even with him and Dante Culpepper that time, like it was sick too. But
Culpepper was slinging it.
Yo,
and that little 1 year with Randall Cunningham.
People don't realize like Culpepper was that dude.
He was Cam before Cam.
He was Cam before Cam.
That receiving core. Chris Carter, Jake Reed.
Jake Reed out of ground.
Yeah. You had Robert Smith in the backfield. Yeah, that was a tough.
Yeah.
That was a tough Vikings team.
Yeah. Favorite sneaker all time?
Oh, the Jordan 3s.
You want the
man.
threes?
I'm a 3 guy. 13 patent leather breads is the second one, but the 3s is.
You ain't lying.
3s comfortable, man. Like you can wear them 13. Yeah, the 13. Yeah,
That me a pep.
Favorite place to visit?
Vegas. Vegas, man. Like
Sin City.
Man,
I happened in Vegas, stays in Vegas.
Man, I think for maybe 11-year stretch, 12-year stretch, I went every year at least twice a year. I love that place, man. It's just fun. It's just a different vibe. It's cool. It's chill. Nice little atmosphere. I was young at the time too, and so we just went out there and had fun. Man.
No doubt.
It was cool. Vegas probably first place. Bali was the second place.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Favorite coach of all time that made the most impact on you, no matter what level?
Man, that's tough. I never even thought about that question. I would say everybody, man. Like I guess everybody along my journey, I picked up jewels from. Man, I can't equate more than other because everybody. I learned something from whether that
Everybody had a unique
impact on me, man. Yeah. Even the ones I always say, man, like being a head coach, like I mean, I don't know all the answers, but I do understand that I've been around a lot of coaches, and I watch how some of them do great, and I watch some of them do not so great, and I watch some of them being different. So I got the best learning experience ever. And even the ones that didn't do as great or did treat the kids like I learned from them. And so for me, just each and every step of the way, just try to learn. And I just picked one thing from them. So I would just say everybody had an impact on me, man, because I knew how important a coach would be and how important a coach is in your life. And, you know, that's like your second brother, friend, father sometimes. Like, you know, so for me, all of them they were a vital impact for me, man. And you know, for me, I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't take the journey that I did.
Let me put my chest up. Put my chest up. I know what's about to happen. Go ahead, G. Lay it on.
Favorite comedian all time? God damn it.
Martin Lawrence.
Oh, shit.
I'm a Martin fan.
Let me go ahead.
That's a good one.
That's
a good one. That's a good one.
I'm a Martin fan. We grew up through that era when Martin was it. Martin did Eddie Murphy.
And Jacket.
There you go. Hey, man.
Well, who was yours?
Bernie Mac.
Oh, Bernie's in the top 3 too. First of all, I'm a stand-up comedian. Like I love it. Like I used to, man, I still do. Like anytime a comedy show come in town, like I go see.
Cat One was down here Saturday.
Like Cat was down here Saturday. I heard.
Nate Jackson,
man, D.L. Hughley, like all those cats, man. Like I like DL. He look
Hating on DL. You gotta stop that.
solid.
You gotta stop that. You gotta stop that. That ain't nice.
like Bill Burr. Like I like
Bill Burr.
Seinfeld.
Bill Burr is
like,
fun-
Bill Burr
funny.
is like a hilarious.
Bill Burr is funny.
Like, I'm just a fan of stand-up comedy. Like,
But DL need to be in a clique. Like it can't just be DL.
Yeah.
DL need a couple.
Yeah, he's like Mike Epps too. Like
Yeah.
Mike Epps can't write really. I like Mike Epps as a clowner, but when he writes his stuff, it's kind of leaving a lot to be desired.
He gotta go off.
Yeah, he got to go off script.
Right.
Yeah. I love stand-up comedy though, man. Like I got a chance to first see Chris Tucker and Martin Lawrence when they first came back, so I got a chance to see.
That's
like
mine. Chris Tucker is mine.
Chris was mine, but then he kind of
Went Muslim.
he went.
He went Muslim.
Hey, you got a little Muslim blonde going on today yourself. Bean pies, my brother.
I look at the weather report. The temperature is about to go drop later on. We're gonna drop a little later, man. You know what I'm saying?
I think laughter is good for the soul, man. So anytime you get to laugh and stuff like that, like I love stand-up comedy. So anytime being in Atlanta was great when I got a chance to live there because Uptown Comedy Club, everybody
Everybody come through there.
and you can come through, you catch a comic through. I mean, the lowest. I mean, I got to see Kevin Hart for $20 one time when he first on the come up, and that's before he got mainstream. And just seeing cats come through there like $20, $25, Uptown Comedy Club in Atlanta. So just living in different places, man, that was a real good thing. So I love stand-up comedy.
Your favorite sports movie?
Ooh, Program.
There we go.
Let's go.
Program. And
Going.
side note, kids don't know nothing about the program right now, man. They don't know it. Like, like literally every year,
Alex
it don't matter where you at. If you got a long bus ride, you tell them, hey, what we watching? Tell them watch the program. Call what that is. And they won't know. Like, they don't know about Alvin Mack. They don't know about Latimer. Hell, we all thought we was Donnell Jefferson.
Right.
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 Out in the backyard. Hey, set him up. Bill.
Right.
Set him up. Hell yeah, no doubt. Donnell Jefferson was a
But they
dog,
don't know
man.
that many sports movies.
No, and then even the ones they make, they all feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all kind of like, okay, you got the problem kids or whatever, and then like, nah, that
We
ain't
gonna
really real.
overcome, we gonna win, dog. Yeah.
Nah.
Rudy, inspiring movie for me.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a movie.
Yeah.
Rudy.
That,
I mean, you want to talk about perseverance.
Oh, no doubt.
You want to talk about heart of a lion. You want to talk about somebody that beat the odds.
Right.
Boy, when that Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. When Notre Dame was
That boy about 4'9".
Right. Oh, he was.
God, and his head beating every day at practice.
Correct then.
I like Invincible too.
Invincible was good.
Invincible was good.
Invincible was good.
Mhm.
Invincible was good. I mean, we grew up on like Mighty Ducks and all that.
Oh yeah.
Blue Chips. I like Blue Chips. Like I like those old college movies. Like I love the program. I love Blue Chips because it honestly was when you got into college, you got to see it was kind of like that.
Yep.
Well, not at our level,
Right.
but like understanding, like yeah, all that stuff was true. Like you hear those stories under the table, like
Yeah.
the old days.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know, you put the money in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Leave it. They got the bag
handshake,
and
the handshake.
and all that stuff was true. So nah, I love movies like that, man. But the program was it for me.
Gotcha.
Like program was it.
Toughest DB you ever faced. Like when you went home, you was like, man, that motherfucker.
Okay, I'll give you two.
Tough. Well, I got a
Okay.
second part question.
Okay.
And then toughest player you coached against. When you was game planning,
Mhm.
you watching him on film, you like, man, I don't know what we gonna do with this cat. And then after the game, after you coached against him, you like, damn, nothing worked.
Okay, I got two. DB I faced was in college. I'll go college first. In college, it was a mix out of David Pittman from right down the road. I think David went to
David Pittman.
Lutcher or
He went-
St. James.
So he was.
I think he went played at Northwestern. Was second round pick out of Northwestern State.
He's Kirsten Pittman's cousin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
First Pittman cousin.
Okay.
David Pittman was second round pick out of Northwestern State. D Pitt was nice. I got him the second time. The last time we played him. First time he lit me up.
For real?
Yeah, he did. And then, the side note was Keith Smith from McNeese. The first
McNeese, from
year.
McNeese.
Yep, he was another second round pick.
That second round pick.
I lit him. I got him too, but he was tough. Like I only got 2 catches. Now I got 2 big ones, but he was locking me up most of the game. And then in the league, man, hardest person I went was Rasheem Mathis, and that was kind of my
Jackson.
welcome. Yes, but that was just my welcome going into the league. Side note, like coming in as an undrafted cat, small school, you really don't know nothing. Like
Right.
I didn't understand. Like I didn't know nothing. Like I was super raw. Like I thought I knew it all when I was in college. Going to that level and understand like how you got to prepare. Like I was on a whole nother level. So Rasheem Mathis was literally, he was 6'3",
Yeah.
210. He can jam you from 5 yards away. And so I'm coming with my little, and I got my speed, and literally, he stopped me like right there. I'm like, okay, this shit different.
And what he went to Tuskegee?
He went to Tuskegee. No, Bethune-Cookman. And was a dog, man. Now, hardest player I coached again, I wouldn't say player. This was my welcome moment as an OC at the Division I level. We played South Carolina, and that's when they had Javon Kinlaw. They had Deion, the other Shiloh was there. They had what was the one?
J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn was there.
Oh.
They had the other cat on the other side of him that was 6'4". They had all them cats on the perimeter.
He played for Dallas. He played for Dallas. With the long last name.
Long last name.
Yeah, Parkway.
No,
sure.
He made that Parkway. He made that Parkway.
He sure did.
He made that Parkway.
Ishmael
something. I can't remember.
He got a long brother last name.
Yeah, he played that Parkway.
Exactly.
He played that Parkway with Justin and Terry.
And so that was my incarnation. I'm sitting there like, okay, you at that level. And hindsight, I'm telling our guys, like, hey, we go to the league, when you play against those bitches, like, some of them don't be what you see on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you play against them, like, I remember the first time I went against D. Webb, and I'm thinking, like, oh, snap, D. Webb was that dude at Florida. I lit him up. And he was like, okay, but they're just normal. But now, these cats, like, you understand, like, Javon Kinlaw, like, we schemed up a perfect game plan. Like, our first play, literally, it was what they lined up in, what we wanted to see, everything. But it was Jimmy's versus Joe's. Javon Kinlaw, literally, Mac, my quarterback. Over in the first play, we hit outside zone for 40, and we finna drop out. Really, we knew what they would do. We game planned, really, but it was just like, them cats different, man. Them cats was different, and so that's when you realize, like, hey, sometimes, like, it just, that cat just got
different.
Yeah, he just different. And they all were like that. Javon Kinlaw, like a double team, like we had him, like we knew. J.C. Horn, Cam Brown was 6'4". And we had the one-on-one fade route, and Cam had them. It was 100% all year. He was working Cam. Like, that's what we knew, just like, it don't matter what we attack. Like, we just ain't got it.
Right.
Like, that's what they got more than you got. Like, we just ain't got it.
You know what happened?
Let's get out of here.
Get out of here.
And at that point, we're like, okay, hey, let's run the ball, get out of here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like,
sure enough, J.C. Horn,
they put up enough points on him there.
Yeah.
Like on that, what's the point of life when he told him, say, I ain't going
man.
He had enough. Pick him up, take him on in.
If Felton Huggins didn't play football and wasn't coaching football, what would Felton Huggins be doing with his life?
Teacher, man. Teaching. I just Educator, man. Like, that's just my whole family in education. Like, that's just, even right now, I got a niece that's a teacher. All my cousins and my sister, she's a teacher's aide at an elementary school. Like, we just love kids, man. And so even my mom's side of the family, they got teachers in their family. So for me, I'd probably be teaching. Like, I probably would, man.
That's
be a principal.
Yeah. I hope I wouldn't be a principal. I know the story of my dad coming down the hallway with the Rockports and the walkie-talkie.
He said a Rockports.
Hey, that used to be my shoes.
They come from Rockports.
So fuck, man. And he come through there. My dad got bad feet, so he walked kind of hard. But one thing kids knew, like my dad, again, he was firm, but he was fair. But hey, son, get out the hallway. You know, he hold that walkie-talkie like that, and he was at Scotlandville, McKinley, and all these schools, man. But
he was at some rough places.
Me for real.
One thing they knew, like my dad, like he would still get calls to come be principal at schools because they knew how much of a disciplinarian he was, and he knew that it wasn't gonna be like no strong arm of the law. It was just hey, we got to do this way. Like there's no other way. Like he set the standards. He was intentional about being clear about how he said things and how we're gonna do things, and just do stuff the right way. That's all he asked. Other than that, he wouldn't bother you. He'll love on you, all that stuff, but as long as we're doing stuff the right way. And that's what I always tell my guy, like, hey, just do it the right way. You will never hear anything out of me if we ain't doing it the right way.
Right. We're
going to laugh and joke and have fun, but just if we mess up, like, learn from it, own up to it. I'm going to tell you when you're wrong. Let's figure out how we're going to do it and just move forward. So I would probably be teaching, man. I love kids, man.
I see it.
That's my passion.
Man,
but don't want the walkie-talkie.
I don't want walkie-talkie. I don't want one. Don't even give me a bullhorn.
Hey, kid.
I thoroughly enjoyed this podcast, bro.
One of my favorite ones.
Yeah, man. I just think back. I was talking to Brennan Harris.
I took a big call a month ago because I'm actually recruiting some kids from Carr.
Yeah, on the way up, and I told him I was gonna have you on here. He was like, "Come on, man." I'm like, "Yeah," and we just was thinking back, reminiscing on the Southeastern days, and we talked about the McNeese game when y'all went upset at them and stuff like that. And man, just to see where you at now versus when you was playing in Southeastern, I remember, us interacting in college and stuff like that. It makes you reflect and appreciate relationships.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
You know what I mean? And I tell kids I mentor all the time, like, bro, you meet people when you go to college that's lifelong relationships.
100%.
You know what I mean? And you was always a good dude, bro. And to see what you're doing now, 41-year-old head coach at the HBCU like Kentucky State. I know y'all went 3-7 this year, but I know good things is to come for that program, and I know you are the person to turn that program around. And I know God got big things for you in the future.
I appreciate that, man. First and foremost, man, I'm always giving thanks. So I just want to tell you guys, man, first and foremost, I appreciate you guys letting me even be on your platform.
For real.
I'm very appreciative of understanding of people's time. Like, time is precious. Time is of the essence. Like, you could be doing anything else in the world, but you guys gave me a moment to not only just talk about me, but just talk about, again, if you notice, I'm going to talk about my program, my kids.
You got
and
to.
so every time I light up them, man, that's important to me, and I'm intentional about giving thanks for that. So, man, I just want to say appreciate you guys. And it's just always been love. I love where I'm from, man. Like, I got to tell people, like, man, Louisiana, even though it's tough here, and we don't have a lot of things, but one of the things I know we do, like, it's a village mentality.
Yeah.
And when we cross paths with people, and you know them, you probably know them. Like, crazy part about it, like, if you don't know them personally, someone in your family or some friend knows somebody else and somebody in Louisiana. And so you got a relationship with them, man.
That's it.
And so the biggest thing is just like, man, like, I tell a kid, like, man, where you from? Like, when I recruit kids back here, oh, I know your dad. Like, I used to watch him. I played against him.
Mm-hmm.
I know I played with him. And so for me, it's just like, once I have that relationship of any inkling, or even if I know about you, like, for me, it's just, okay, what I got to do to help take care of my community. And Louisiana is my community, man. And this is the place that bred me to get to where I am and bred a lot of us. And so I'm appreciative of that, man. So I just say thank you all.
Man, appreciate you, bro.
It's always been all love, man. And Southeastern, oh, man, when we got
so many memories.
So many memories, man. I mean, just think, like,
so many.
Just in life, like, when we got there, like, they didn't even have ball.
Right.
Like, people don't even realize, like those kids now don't understand, like, they didn't even have a football team. When I transferred there, that just lets you know how God works, man. Like, I transferred to Southeastern before they even got football. So I didn't even know. Like, I just, honestly, again, how we were raised, okay, you don't play football, you play another sport.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go run track or go play basketball.
Yep.
So I went there to run track. And just life and your path and your journey kind of intertwined us. And who would have thought I'd have met Jacoby Jones and ran with him, and now he's scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. And that's my dog. Like, and we were together. And all the people that came through Southeastern, like, everybody that would have played that came through Southeastern, like at Graham and at Southeastern, like, we had cats that, like you and a bunch of cats that didn't even get out there. But what if all these other cats came and played? Like, man, we probably been a powerhouse.
Right.
And that just goes to show, like, in Louisiana, like, the toughest part is it's so many talented kids that can play.
Yes, indeed.
At this level. Like, I always tell people, like, I'm not the best person where I'm from. Only thing that for me, I was able to make it was, it's just the choices that we all make in life. Like, and some of the choices I made, they didn't cost me. A lot of my friends' choices they made, some of them, they might have cost them, or they just didn't try to apply themselves. But to me, like, I'm not the best person where I'm from. Hell, we've had at Northeast High School, within a 20-year span, we won state in the 100-meter dash at least 10 out of the 20 years. And we've had the fastest kid in the state and one in the nation. Trenton Holiday is my little cousin. Carl Kelly, who won a 100-meter dash at a 10.3 when I was in school during that time. Then we had Trenton Holiday's little brother. He ran it. We had another kid after him. All those kids came out of the pipeline of Northeast of where we from and all the talent we have there. And now, Zachary kind of got our talent, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. Funny.
But, like, man,
just conversation.
They didn't put a fence
and everything.
Fence around that talent in Baton Rouge.
But all that talent was at Southeastern, man, and all them cats were at Southeastern. We had a ton of talent, man, and I could just only imagine if all of them would have got out there. But life didn't make it that way. But at the end of the day, we all kind of crossed paths.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody we were cool with, we kicked it with, we hung with, we all spent time together, man, and it brought us to where we at to this point, man. And so along the journey, man, that's all we can ask for, man.
For real.
And so you can. I'm proud of, and I'm happy. I mean, I know I always want to stay at HBCU, but again, I understand the journey I'm at and
We
what.
kind of turned Syracuse into HBCU on a cool.
Did.
On the cool.
We kind of did.
Only time I seen white people was in class.
So that is true. And honestly, even homecoming, like,
Bro,
I haven't been to homecoming in 5 years, but the last one I went to,
it was lit. It was lit.
like,
It ain't
like,
HBCU.
Man, I'm telling you, it was lit. Hey, you think you on the yard?
It ain't a
Think you on the yard?
It ain't an HBCU homecoming.
and they now I heard they like everybody got to go in the game now. Like they just trying not to.
See, yeah, y'all got it ain't an HBCU homecoming.
Nah, what's the only thing the issue over there is we can't get Austin coming to the game. You gonna kick it out on the tailgate all day.
All day. All day.
Get us to come to the game.
That ticket sale ain't gonna be
No, we ain't going to the game.
It's gonna be light.
The game gonna be light. The game be like, game gonna be light.
When you go out,
Come in, they're gonna come in right before halftime.
to see the band, to see the alumni
And then you gonna
band.
see them sprinkle back outside to go get
Y'all got a hill?
Yes, ton of hills. We're in the mountains of Kentucky.
I'm about to say turn your hill into a Greek hill. While we have
Oh, in the stadium. No, we ain't got one. I wish we could.
I'm about to say-
Alcorn got that.
Yeah,
That's why.
but-
So
Yeah.
we went to one of y'all before we played y'all in 04. Me, Jeff, a couple of us, we had the bye week. And we went to y'all game. Y'all played Southern. First of all, when Alcorn play Southern, that's a whole nother animal. Like
Straight
that
down
game
61.
Oh man. And first of all, the game be crunk. And so man, we went there and we was like, damn, like,
Right.
like it was. I'm talking about all on the hill. Like we had to park like 2 miles away, and we walking in this atmosphere. It was like, man, I need this. Like in our games at the time. I mean, we probably had the most packed games at Southeastern. Now they kind of light, but that atmosphere, we weren't getting that. And now that's why a lot of the PWIs they try to play us because we bring that atmosphere. Like that is our culture. We bring that to them, and I want that. Like we bring the fans to them. So yes, man, that game was crunk.
Yeah.
That's what it is, man. Y'all already know what it is. This is FanView Podcast. Listen, get subscribed. Get locked in FanView Podcast if you're on YouTube. FanView Podcast if you're on Facebook. FanView Podcast if you're on TikTok. We're still FanView NOLA on X. And we're FanView Podcast on Facebook. Get the like, subscribe. Listen to us on your Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify. You name it, we there. Don't forget to follow my man G Sports.
You know it.
Yo, I can't help you if you need the rock, baby.
You know it.
Everybody got devices? Get locked in. Every time we go live on our episodes, each and every week on Fridays, y'all get that notification bell. Get locked in. Get subscribed. We can't stop.
We won't stop.
It's the FanView Podcast.
G Sports, man.
Coach Hurricane Hen.
You back at it again?
I was trying to come up with a Muslim name for G.
Chill out.
Struggling.
Chill out.
You know what I'm saying? My boy Rashid Sports.
Chill out.
He's finding out.
Step Construction is here for you with a brand new offer. We now provide affordable storage sheds. Stop wasting your money on overpriced storage units and portable containers. Step Construction can provide you with a custom shed that will fit your budget and storage needs. So contact Step Construction today at 504-340-5809 for your own personal quote. Let us help you take the next step at Step Construction.
It's that boy Fred, host of FanView Podcast. Tune into the NOTN app weekdays 3:30 for the FanView Podcast. Go to NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com to watch more episodes of FanView Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch.